Hello and welcome to the Old Man Orange Podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan.
While you're at it out there in the world of listeners, you guys got to go out and check out Drunk Batman and Robin episode 9. Finally put it out after all our hard effort and work. It's really been kind of a while, it seems like. Seems like it's been
maybe a year, maybe.
No, I don't think it's been that long. Well, I guess if you technically disinclude the Spunkles the Rabbit and things in between since the last Batman.
Yeah, well, I think because there's usually, as soon as you get done with a cartoon, we don't really have that immediate, let's get the next one done right now. I mean, we kind of already plan it, but we maybe take a week before I even start drawing it, before you and I even start writing it. And then, so we had that, and then there was just the initial period of let's just take a break. Let's work on Spunkles. Let's do the Spunkles the Rabbit thing we've been talking about for a little while. And that's what we did. And then there was just me moving. And then there was are we still doing this thing? And that's when it got a little...
It was we had that period where I don't know how we're supposed to record these things. And then...
Yeah, and I just did the Batman voices, aside from the song you do in there, which I almost kind of wish, I wish I stayed around long enough just 'cause I would have liked to sing that song that you wrote for Drunk Batman in that part.
I know, the song's pretty good, but I thought I got the voice down pretty well enough that nobody other than us, I don't think anybody would notice. I'll say that.
Yeah. So I like that song so much. I'm man, I wish I got a chance to sing that song. But yeah, and then plus you added a few lyrics to it since we last wrote it. So I was like, oh, that's actually a good improvement right there. I really dug that one. Not to suck around dicks here for first 4 minutes into the show, but yeah.
But well, that kind of happens though. It's I don't know. When you're writing a song, you write it out first, and you go, okay, that sounds about good. But then once you start recording it and hearing it and whatnot, then you're oh, it'll sound much better here. And then even at the end, I just came to the conclusion, dude, let's just do it at the end fucking it's a play, where he just, instead of almost he's talking, not necessarily singing.
Mm-hmm.
He's Scat Man, he's my motherfucking friend. To the very end.
I like that, yeah. No, well, my thing is, it's kind of weird. I do have this weird bias towards musicals, but I have two where it's okay. If it's animated, I can handle it more. I don't really look for it, but if it's animated, I can handle it fine. And if it's comedy-based, a live-action comedic musicals are fine. It's just more of Les Miserables, which everyone was on my dick to go see. And when I finally saw it, it's when it's dead serious. We gotta sing about our fucking feelings, And it's just look, everybody twisted my arm into watching Les Miserables, and I remember my brother really loved that movie. And at one point, he's here. I let him borrow 2 movies he really wanted to see. He says, oh, and here, so since I let you borrow those movies, I'll let you borrow this movie. It was Les Miserables. Usually it's a movie I want to see, but okay, whatever, I'll watch it. So, watch for my mom's birthday because she wanted to see it. We all watched it, and I'm not going to lie, it was one of those movies. It was okay, visually it's a good movie. It's a good-looking movie.
Captain Crunch story.
Russell Crowe is Captain Crunch, yeah.
There is one saving grace.
And, it has good actors, and it is a good story, but I can't focus on it that much and take it that seriously when it's not 5-10 minutes of, regular dialogue and then a song, Disney format, which is kind of the musical thing I was used to, which maybe that's not traditional musical, but that's just what I was used to. 5-10 minutes of regular dialogue, maybe 15, then song.
Did Les Miserables just have, straight-up music through the whole thing?
Yeah.
It's an opera?
Yeah, then there may have been 1 or 2 lines of dialogue between songs, 1 or 2 normal lines of dialogue between songs, and they kick in, and they would have arguments I can't, yes you can, I can't, yes you fucking can. They don't say that.
Fucking cunt, you better can, or I will slap your bitch face in.
Academy Award, trust.
Captain Crunch, that is me. Fuck you, I'm Captain Crunch.
There's already other versions of it that I've seen with
Tricks Rabbit. You're a douche.
That movie would have kept me watching the whole way through if they just yeah.
Would you watch Les Miserables if all the characters were played by cereal mascots?
That would make it more entertaining to me. Yeah, yeah. All right, we already got Captain Crunch down as the Russell Crowe character.
See, I don't really know the character, so you're gonna have to deal with the naming here. I can just throw out people. Who's the Tricks Rabbit?
Well, what's the thing? Because really, when you think about most serial characters, serial
Serial
killers,
killers.
them too, but serial characters, they're usually most of the time not good people. They usually are conniving, manipulative people,
Like serial
or
killers?
like serial killers, or they are just kind of like so pitiful and pathetic, you just feel kind of bad for them, really. Like Trix Rabbit, you just feel bad for him. You don't really want to be his friend,
No.
but you do feel kind of bad. Like I feel bad for you, dude, but really just you can't get your shit together, so don't even fucking hang out with me.
And up
Usually you
before
want
you
to
rabbit bailed out and beat those children, fucking teach them a lesson
be
of
a
etiquette. Let the
be a fucking
creator
man.
fucking have the food before anybody else.
Exactly. It's like be a fucking man, Trix Rabbit. Come on. And then there's, I guess, I don't know who's who, man. I really can't say. All I know is Captain Crunch is Russell Crowe by default because of that costume.
Literally.
Um,
Yeah, maybe that's all we
uh,
need. Maybe we just need a Captain Crunch movie.
that's all we need by this point. Just that I really want our Captain Crunch movie we talked about because if people remember, you probably don't remember unless you were like if you were born like later than like probably 1980, 1988 or 1989. You probably are too young to remember this, but I remember when we were in like not even middle school, like elementary school. There's this commercial. This is once again kind of like 90s commercials for like children's food taught you really shitty values.
Yeah.
And one was we already talked about the Rice Krispies. Like, want some Rice Krispies? Sure.
Psych!
Psych! And pull it away. Just like because fuck you, you're poor. It's too much to fit on a box. There was one where it was what was it? It was the Captain Crunch one. The kids just and I remember kids would fucking say this at school. It drove me crazy. The kid was one kid's like, I love Captain Crunch. Then his stupid, shitty little sister is like, then why don't you marry it? And he says, maybe I will. And then it just kind of goes onward in his life, and he's driving in a car with a box of Captain Crunch, and then he's like,
naked in a hotel room, fucking the box of Captain Crunch. And then,
Phil,
and
we
then,
know
and
how
then,
much
then
you
he's
wanted
out of the
to-
street being evicted from his own house with the box of Captain Crunch. Next thing you know, he's in a horrible divorce with like the box of Captain Crunch. Next thing he's sitting in the rain, like in a gutter, crying, looking at a picture of Captain Crunch in him. And then the sister drives up really slowly, rolls down a real nice fancy window. She's like in a Lamborghini or something like that. And it's just all like, fucking told you so. See ya. Just takes off.
Just
Almost
really,
like she peeled off. I don't know.
splashes-
That sounded like she peeled off in like a fucking electric car. Just see, like I told you, you shouldn't get fucking married to like an inanimate object.
Fucking loser. No, I remember there's one though where just like take that commercial out of context. Like say Captain Crunch in the real world, like the kid goes on television like, yeah, I want to marry Captain Crunch. Like, Captain Crunch, why do you want to marry this boy? Like, I don't want to marry the boy. I'm just trying to run a business. I'm glad you like cereal. Why do you want to marry the boy, Captain? Like, I don't want to marry the fucking boy. Just like make this.
He just likes me so much. I don't fucking get it. It's good cereal. Don't get me fucking wrong. I mean, it's got wholesome stuff mixed in with a bit of sugar, but still, come on, man. I'm like, don't put me in the same category as this. I'm not fucking boy. Fucking boys here. I'm saying, fuck you. Quit answering the questions. I'm Captain Crunch.
Just make this very bleak drama. Like his wife is like, look, Ephraim, if you want to go fuck the boy, just go fuck the boy, okay? I'm just, power gets to a man a lot. Like, no, Julie, no, just let me finish, Ephraim, let me finish. Power gets to a man, and I'm really proud. I knew it was going to happen someday. I knew this day was coming. I'm glad it happened later than what it did. But it's like, I don't want to fuck the boy. I just want to make my cereal. This boy just got on TV saying this shit. Just
wants to get married to me. Why? It's like, why does it have to be a boy? I mean, it would still be wrong if it's a little girl, but at least it wouldn't seem so fucking weird.
Just this media circus is like ruining his life. About like he's like, I have to kill this kid. This kid is spreading rumors about me and him, and it's.
I'm gonna hire the Lucky Charms guy. Nobody will suspect him. He's got ties
the
with
Irish
the mob.
Ties to the Irish mob.
Actually, I got another Captain Crunch one. Here's the thing. Here's a third story. The kid gets married to the box. Then they take a honeymoon off into like some Pacific island or something like that. The plane crashes down somewhere and they're stuck on an island and nobody's there to rescue him. And after a while, he starts to run out of food. So he has to resort to eating the box of Captain Crunch.
The one thing
and he just
loves.
sits there crying, eating the thing, like, I fucking love you! It's not my fault!
There is just like this, he just has like this wonderful tender night, just has the box around his arms, like, I love you, right? Just cut to the box, nothing. Yeah, I know you'd say that. I know you'd say that, but I love you, but we need to survive. And unfortunately,
You can't eat me.
in this, yeah. So I'll never forget. You just brings a rock, smashes the box in. Like just a silhouette. There's like the moonlight. You see a silhouette just like hitting the box.
His cereal's like shooting out like blood.
And he's crying. I'll never forget you. The 3 different Captain Crunch movies you could make.
I know, there's a lot of possibilities there.
And then when he gets back home, he's just almost kind of like, so what happened to your wife, in air quotes? He's like, she died in the crash. I don't know what to tell you. It just kind of happened that way, People he's all worried people were onto him. People don't really care either way. He's the only one.
He's like, she ran away with one of the natives there. I mean, it's just kind of how it is. He was charming and he could roll his belly. You see how it is.
You're on a 10x10 island. Well, it was,
Well, yeah. There was...
Fuck you! You never catch me. Runs off.
Good old cereal.
But
When was the last time you had a bowl of Captain Crunch?
I don't know. A while ago. Every so often, I'll just go treat myself and just go buy okay, what's some cereal that's gonna kill me a little quicker and remind me of my childhood,
All at the same time. It's like a double whammy. Like at first you're eating, you're like, man, this is great. This is just like the 4th grade, man. If I just had a pack of Pokemon cards and an N64, and then next thing you know, you're kind of like on your 3rd bowl and you're like, I don't feel so good. I just feel like I sort of carb loaded and kind of want to throw up.
The only
This is not fun. This is definitely not like 4th grade.
The last junk food cereal I think I had was some kind of knockoff knockoff Cocoa Pebbles.
Huh.
Not Cocoa Pebbles, some kind of knockoff one.
I didn't even know they made knockoff Cocoa Pebbles.
Not Cocoa Pebbles.
Cocoa Puffs?
Cocoa Puffs. But they make those too. They'll just like Dino chocolate or whatever,
Dino Feast. From
something
blood.
Like Fruity Dino. Yeah, I think that's the only thing keeping it fun.
Just fucking buy it.
You fucking know what it is. I heard
You're too fucking cheap to buy the Fruity Pebbles. You know why you're here. You're looking at the bag cereal. You know who you are. Don't look to the right. Don't look to the left. Just because they're judging you in the aisle, don't worry about it. Because you know what? Here's the bottom line. You're not going to pay $5.99 for a box of cereal. You're here to pay $1.99, and you know it.
Do you remember the bag cereal commercials in the mid '90s to late '90s?
Are they the ones where they're like, come on, kids, you don't need fucking boxes. Whoever wanted a box? And they just...
It wasn't that, though. It was like some old guy. It was like your grandpa, but he was in a suit. He says, a lot of people often don't look at the bag cereals at the bottom because they think they're in bags. They're not as good as the box stuff. But guess what? Snaps his fingers magically with his grandpa powers. They all, you see,
they're all in bags.
And they're all in fucking bags, kids. He's shuffling on his knees. I guess it's kind of spry for an old man because he would literally go I'm gonna go at a checkout now, even though I own this fucking company. Grabs 2 bags or something. I remember he was shuffling and walking on his knees, which now I'm thinking back on it, that's kind of impressive for a 60-something-year-old man in this commercial.
I do remember that one, and I can't remember what company it was for, the bag company. Was it just was it literally just the off-brand cereal? Is that what he was trying to sell you?
It was just a bunch of off-brands, and I don't really know if it was just kind of all the off-brands put together and just hired this old man to say, fuck them boxes, go buy these bags.
Just get old man up there, yo, fuck them boxes. Fuck them up their stupid box hole. You gotta take those boxes anyways and recycle them. It's just more work. Why the fuck you want a box? What, because it's got fucking Fred Flintstone on it? Is that why you want the box, you fucking idiot?
It's just some crotchety old, gold panner.
Fuck the boxes, Dale. We got the bags. That's all we're gonna need.
No, yeah,
I
remember.
Jumps and clicks his heels and
freeze frame, right there.
Ooh, whiskey!
fuck yo box. You know?
Fuck yo box.
No, I remember I was just being because when you're a kid, I mean, you don't really think about terms of like fucking corporations or like, oh, that's Golden Smacks. I like Golden Smacks. Or oh, that's Tony the Tiger. He's my friend. So the second this old man you don't know comes in and says like, guess what? They're all in bags. Like, fuck you, old man. What do you know? You not friends with Tony?
Tony the Tiger comes up and tells me they're all in bags. That's when I'll believe it. He's my friend. Don't you forget it till the very end.
You say that shit again. You say that fucking shit again. Well, it's gonna fuck you up. It's gonna fuck you up, old man. You know? I just feel that guy sleeping in his bed, just all of a sudden like silhouette of all like the big like main 8 like cereal mascots are there, just like enjoy your sleep while you can, because we're gonna make your life a living hell, you old cocksucker.
Before you came along, people just thought that there was bags and there was boxes. There wasn't both. We didn't coexist in the world. Not in one singular package. But now you're putting the truth that we're all in bags.
Like there's like 1 or 2 of them underneath the bed. They pull the sheets down, like pinning them there. They fill like cereal with like socks, start beating them with it. Like Full Metal Jacket.
Exactly.
Like it's not as effective. It's cereal. Like yeah, well, that's all we got.
I was like, oh, but since you're old, it hurts, doesn't it? Old timer.
Does hurt.
Fuck.
He's probably dead by now. We should probably make fun of him, but yeah.
Really, he was actually doing the world a favor, and we're making fun.
He was. He was.
He's like, I'm here to tell you, like, what they're fucking you over with at grocery stores. It's just like, here's, crusty old Bob, and who's fucking you over today? I'm crusty old Bob, and well, I'm here to tell you that people like to fuck you over. Like cereal boxes. It's really the same as the bags. Well, kind of like off-brand products or store products, they're really just as good, and you pay less. Because fuck those guys and their commercials. You don't need a commercial. You fucking hate them anyways, right? I'm crusty old Bob telling you that people are fucking you over.
Thank you, crusty old Bob.
Back to the news. But I'm not doing that. Yes, thank you, Bob. That's fine.
Back to crusty old Bob. Now let me tell you about the Mexicans. Okay, moving on, Bob. Thank you.
Just because it's cheaper doesn't mean it's better.
Okay, Bob. Okay, that's great, Bob. That's great. Okay, thank you. Anyway, so the dog parade was today.
Oh, wait a second. You know what a dog's good for? Not only can you ride them, but you can eat them too.
Okay, Bob. Okay, thank you, crusty old Bob.
They got a third thing you can do to them too. No, Bob. That's quite okay. Jesus Christ, who the fuck let him in the studio? I thought he was supposed to be out on the street. All of a sudden, he pans in from being on the street to being in the studio. Who the fuck let that happen?
He's Frank's great cousin. He asked for a favor.
It's kind of like a war veterans thing, you gotta kind of give him the job.
Yeah. I mean, the guy's a war hero, so, we can't technically, fire him, but at the same time, we just got to give him very menial, like, unimportant jobs, in
Vietnam, he saved his whole troop by eating dogs and then riding the rest of the dogs out of there. He came back, him and 12 other men came back riding on wolves, or dogs, or whatever kind of Vietnamese dog there is. Fuck if I know.
Given the shit he's been through, we're lucky he just goes on air, swears a little bit, and talks shit on cereal boxes.
Because you could be doing a whole lot more.
This guy, right now, if things do abruptly just cut out, it may not just because of their internet connection. The Giants are playing in the World Series right now, and I've just been hearing Journey, Don't Stop Believing on a constant loop for the last, what seems like a week and a half. And, so you're kind of at the point where you don't even have to really watch the game. You can just kind of peek your head out the window, and then you hear Giants 3-2. Like, okay, that's where they're going,
Yeah, I know. When you're in San Francisco, the Giants is a really big deal.
Yeah, it makes sense. I guess that's your home team. I guess I'm not used to being. I mean, there are San Jose Sharks, but I guess I'm not really used to being part of a city so much where you got not a team that's they're 30 or 40 minutes away where you're oh that's actually our team. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So yeah. It is. So yeah, whatever you do right now, just don't talk shit on the Giants and don't talk shit on Journey.
I know. Sometimes when I watch like those games, though, I always just kind of go like, I feel bad for the other team. The Giants win all the time. So and then people are always like, I want them to get a fucking like lockout or what do they call it, shutout. I want it to be a shutout game because I want them to like fucking go home and shame and cry to their parents. And it's just like, I don't know. I feel kind of bad. Like I'm like most kind of people when I watch a game, I'm like, even if it's a team like I like, because I saw like a little bit of like one of those Giants ones, and it's kind of one of those ones just like. I like it myself. I'm like, well, I hope Kansas City scores a bit, just so at least have something to say. Like, we got those 2 runs in.
It's primarily been at least. I mean, because I guess if I did have a team, it would be the Giants. I'm by no means a big sports enthusiast, but I mean, I've been to a few Giants games. I had a good time. Whenever I do watch the game, I have fun. But it's not by any means like my favorite sport or like my favorite thing to do. So, so. When it comes to the Giants, it's like, okay, yeah, I hope they win. But if they don't win, nothing I'm going to lose sleep over. Same thing with the 49ers. I will say, though, baseball, it is one of those sports that kind of like you can kind of like drowse off for a second, but then like within one split second, a whole bunch of shit could happen. A bunch of runs can get in, a bunch of home runs can get in. Like, oh, shit, what the fuck happened? You know what I mean? So that is one of those sports where you kind of like where the kids kind of sneak up on you for a second,
No, that's totally true. Yeah, like things can kind of get. That's the only thing about baseball is you can sit there for like an hour and a half and nothing fucking happens.
But then everything happens all at once.
And it's kind of cool for a split second, then you go back to like, waiting again. That's why I really think that baseball should be, they should cut the innings on that. To me, it just feels it's a little too long. Like, it should be like 7 max. And I know people out there are probably going, blasphemy, but I don't know. It's just one of those ones like, and I think the whole reason that sports were kind of longer is because back in the day, that was like the way you went and saw them is because you went to the ballpark. So you went there to go get something to eat and to get all hopped up and hammered and whatnot, and that was just the thing to do. Mm-hmm. But now, kind of TV era, it's kind of like, does it really need to be that long?
I think it's mainly ads that kind of kill it for me. And I mean, even though I know there are a lot of ads for baseball, I don't think there's as many as it for football.
No, football's like the ultimate worst for ads.
So that's the reason why. And plus, like, I don't know, I think baseball's a lot of people, I mean, you think I like football more, but I think I like baseball a little more, in all honesty.
Well, the other thing with football, I'm really surprised, and it probably won't be that far away where like each one of the players has a fucking ad on their jersey. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's not that far off, or at least that sport. But
no, I don't really know. It's going to seem like I'm going off topic here for a second, but it's probably more of our wheelhouse of knowledge anyway. There's that movie Mystery Men, and something I didn't really put together when I was younger. I was like, okay, whatever. But now that I'm older, I kind of think it is pretty smart, kind of clever little nod. There was the one superhero in the movie. I think it was played by Sam Rockwell, the guy who was basically he was the big superhero, but he was almost very corporate and very kind of a sellout. Uh-huh. And he had like Pepsi logos on him and Gillette, like as part of his superhero uniform.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
I think he was played by Sam Rockwell. Maybe I'm wrong there, but now looking back on that, like, yeah, it's not so far off. That's actually a pretty good. I mean, I think I might have more appreciation for that movie now. But I got to see it again. It's been so many years. But I just thought that was kind of funny now thinking back on that. Like, like this day and age, it's kind of like in Fight Club, not to sound like, all like cynical or anything, but kind of like once we colonize in space, it's going to be Planet Starbucks, Planet Dunkin' Donuts,
Exactly. No, that's actually a pretty good movie, Mystery Men.
Mm-hmm. It's been years since I've seen it.
I haven't seen it since I was a kid. I used to watch it all the time, and then... yeah, I don't know. That was about it. Had Pee Wee Herman in it, pretty much.
I think the one thing looking back now, like, oh yeah, a bad guy a superhero who farts fire. Not looking back, like, yeah, that was kind of like, that almost seemed like a character. Oh, this guy's made for the kids. Everything else could be maybe a funny satire, But yeah.
Well, isn't that based off a comic book too?
It might be. I think it might be. I don't know if it is.
I think it is because that was sort of that other time period where they were made, pretty much after Batman 1989. Everybody kind of forgets this, but it's like throughout the whole 90s, that was still a comic book period where they were making things. Maybe not the same as nowadays, but because everybody thinks that X-Men's kind of like the first big time where like from that point on they made all these comic book movies. But if you go back to the 90s, I mean, there's so many different things. You got Tank Girl, you got Spawn, you got Mystery Men. Now, obviously, you got the Batmans, you got Captain America, you got
The Mask.
The Mask. A lot more of the obscure ones they kind of made in that time period.
It wasn't really, they didn't make a whole lot of comic book movies on like Marvel or DC so much. It was more of just like obscure like Dark Horse or Image Comics kind of stuff.
It was a lot of that stuff.
And I honestly didn't know till like I think I texted you a picture of it. It's like, what the fuck? I didn't know till like about I think a month ago that The Mask was actually based on a comic book, and I came across like one of the comics at like the local comic book store over here, and I was like, what the fuck? It's like a bloody, violent mask, and I flipped through it like, oh, and like the return, like Mask returns, like. Once Stanley Ipkiss, which I remember that name, was killed as the Mask, his girlfriend took the mantle. It's like, oh my god, like the Jim Carrey character died in the original comic book. I didn't know that. I flipped through it, and then even though he did kind of have the wacky kind of like moments, it was almost kind of like it was almost like more like Joker-esque because it would be like he'd have the wacky kind of like cartoon angle, but when he slammed someone's head with a hammer, their like brains would splash out. You know what I mean? So it wasn't all like over the top, like silly. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Huh.
So it would be kind of like.
Did you say you bought it, or did you like just flip through it?
I flipped through it, and it was like, he still had the kind of like old whatchamacallit, the old school the old like kind of what's that guy's name? He was like a big like cartoon legend, like Tex Avery. Yeah, the whole Tex Avery vibe to it, slapstick humor.
Uh-huh.
But people actually died violently because of it. So, and the Mask was actually like a very violent killer. And that's just me flipping through this book. So it's one of those things like they really toned that thing down. And they're kind of weird knowing like this had a cartoon as well as a really quite possibly the worst movie sequel, which is quite possibly the worst movie I think I've ever seen.
Son of the Mask.
Son of the Mask, I think, might possibly be the worst movie I've ever seen.
Well, that was the period, though, where they did tone a lot of things back, I mean, even think Spawn. When it came out in the theaters, it was PG-13. And then when you bought it, like, on video, they have, like, the sort of rated R, but it's kind of, like, just barely border.
I didn't even notice a difference between the R-rated version and the PG-13 version.
I'm not too sure if I ever did see the PG-13. That must have been the version they played on TV, because that's where I saw it at.
Well, I saw it on HBO, and I couldn't tell you the difference, really. Maybe they said shit, or I don't even think they said fuck. I think they maybe said shit once or twice, but,
Yeah, it's like, I still like that movie, even though that one's one of those movies where, like, it really shows its age and, like, the special effects. And the weird part, too, is it was done by Industrial Light and Magic.
Uh-huh.
Because I watched the special features on the disc, and it was like, oh, what the fuck? I thought it was just some knockoff company, like, oh, here's a couple of boys that got some computers in their garage. They're going to make the special effects for us in this.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it's like, holy crap. Because it's like, I mean, it is one of those movies, I think, where they just said, like, we're going to do everything we can to make it feel like it's a comic book. When that was that time period still where it's like, maybe you should just do, like, the bare minimum, keep it, think Jurassic Park, think, Terminator 2.
I remember when the Violator talked, his mouth would just kind of slowly go up and down, not really in sync with what he was saying. I remember that.
Well, that was a part, too, where it's like, it literally looks like a PlayStation CGI. And I know we say that a lot about things, but that's the one where I go, no, that is, like, exactly like almost a PlayStation CGI right there.
Well, at the time, even though it didn't look that good, you just kind of took it and you thought that was kind of cool because you weren't used to seeing that in movies. You're used to seeing a puppet or a guy in a mask. And I think when you first see it as a kid, that's really cool.
Because it's different.
And when you get older, yeah. But like for instance, when I first saw the Power Rangers movie in theaters, I thought that looked amazing. But now looking back, I'm like, yeah, go back to Suits. That was really fucking bad.
Yeah, the end of that. It's like, good thing it's only in the end, or else you might walk out. Even when I was a kid, that was amazing because it was just like, CG, it's so cool. It's like Johnny Quest, but in a movie. You just have
real adventures of Johnny Quest.
Yeah, like no way to how explain that. It's just like I saw it in Johnny Quest first and foremost.
Some older viewers like it's more like Lawnmower Man.
Oh, I love Lawnmower Man. Such a good movie. Try your camera again. See if it works. Mine seemed to work really good right now.
Yours is looking okay. Let me bring this bad boy up.
I had to close. The fucking Windows Update was going on. Fuck Windows Update sometimes.
Yeah. But on another note, did you finally, because I want to talk about this thing, and you might have to refresh my memory on some of it. I read a little bit of it since then. Did you by chance get the new Batman yet?
I did. It finally came in on Monday. And it was like, it was literally like, yeah, I finished the whole thing. And it was literally one of those ones where it's like, come on, guys. Fucking, that was getting close to being 3 weeks. 3 weeks, you know what I mean? That comic came out, if it came on Tuesday, it would have been 3 weeks. And as I said before, since I sold things on eBay and Amazon, it's like, I know how long it takes to ship things. I fucking bought it from New Jersey just because I knew that, it goes to New York, and then from New York to California, Sacramento, from Sacramento to here. Bam. 3 days, 4 days max. But no. Took 2.5 weeks or whatever to get here. You know, and I think they fucking shipped it off super late. I really do. Because I remember I went to the post office I think on Thursday, and I was all super excited. I was like, "Oh fuck, the package is here! It's here!" I'm running inside. I'm like, "Lady, where's the package? Where's the package?" And she's like,
"I need it now. What is it?"
Speaking of Arnold Schwarzenegger, this is what came up and said. And she's like, "Here you go. Here's a package." And I go, "That's a fucking odd shaped box." It was like about this big, or it wasn't a box, but a big envelope. I'm like, "That's a fucking weird way to ship a book." And then I look at it, and she's like, "Oh well, this was shipped yesterday." I'm like, "Those motherfuckers, they shipped it yesterday. Those fucking cocksuckers." I wasn't saying that in the post office though, but I was kind of still angry.
Some 60-year-old.
And then I spin it around and I go, "Oh yeah, I forgot I got this." And on the ArnoldFans.com, they had like these like, there's a really cool picture. I wish I had it to show you on the camera, but I'll have to just send you it. But Randy Jennings, the main guy of Arnold.com, and he lives in Sacramento. He made this really cool poster where it has each one of Arnold's movies and then kind of like the weapon from it, and then it's kind of got like a nice kind of, it's all designed graphic artist style. But, you know, like, one's got, like, that Magnum thing he's got in Terminator. It's got, like, the Mr. Freeze gun for Batman and Robin. It's got the Boomerang for Turbo Man. The kind of Gatling gun for Last Stand.
Somewhere it's just got to be his fist, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, like, some of them are kind of funny, because one of them, I think, is the kindergarten cop. He's got, like, the whistle. You know, so it's got all sorts of things and whatnot on. I was like, I saw them, like, that's fucking badass. And I was like, I think it was $15 or whatever, and it was, like, $4 a ship because it's Sacramento. I'm like, I'll buy that. I'll support that. That's a sweet poster. I'd like to have that in my room. Plus, I like to support the Arnold fans.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, this is fucking amazing. This thing, literally, because Randy told me he was going to ship it out Wednesday. And it got there Thursday. And my fucking Batman book, once again.
And these are the guys on A&R News?
Yeah. Like, I think the guy, the Gillinator is the guy who does the podcast. He's like the main guy on there. But Randy Jennings, I think, is the main guy that runs the website. And then he's on there like 75% of the time.
Mm-hmm. They said some really nice stuff about us in the comments as well as their podcast.
I know. So, yeah, and he's always telling me.
I'm a little behind. I got to catch up on them, but yeah.
That's like one of my. I like that podcast a lot because it reminds me of like Fat Man on Batman, but with like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Almost that's one of my favorite style of podcasts. Like there's this other one I've been listening to. It's called like the Jurassic Park podcast, and it's from like the Jurassic Park fans, and it's got a bunch of good insight on it. It's a couple British guys, and you know, and they've interviewed people like in one of the podcasts. They interviewed the director for Jurassic Park 4. You know, they've interviewed like, you know, kind of like small actors, nobody big, no Sam Neill or like, you know, Ian Malcolm, what's his name?
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum or anything like that. But, and then like, you know, other guys like, you know, collectors and so on. The only thing about that podcast though, there's one thing where like the guy made a comment, he's like, he was talking about Jurassic Park video games, and the other guy on the show was like, I never really played too many of them when I grew up. You know, I played like one or two, and they were just kind of okay. And the other guy's like, well, you don't really need to play them. They're all kind of just rubbish anyways. And then I kind of did that thing like, call yourself a Jurassic Park fan, huh? I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like, the Jurassic Park games, like, those are like the ones, like, they're seriously good ones. They're kind of doing the standard thing, like, oh, well, you know, movie games were never really good back in the day. I'm like, I think that's a bullshit statement.
Oh, I think the Genesis one was fun.
Yeah, the Genesis one, the Super Nintendo one, I'm like, you know, those are great ones. I will maybe say, like, because, like, by the time I got the PlayStation, that's when they're like, okay, like the Lost World one's fun, but it's not like not nearly as good as you know, Chaos Continues or both the Genesis one, Rampage Edition. That's one of my fucking favorite games. Now, I mean, maybe I got a Jurassic Park bias with it because as much as I love Jurassic Park, and I think it's cool too because a lot of those games are like they're kind of like expanding stories, anyways, even if they don't totally make sense. Why would Alan Grant go back now and just start like hunting down everybody? He's like, I gotta put a stop to this. I'm Alan Grant. I killed children. I don't know how to live my life anymore. All I know now is killing,
never do.
Dinosaur man and chocolate bars.
The one thing I thought I'd never do, like kids. There's no point anymore. I gotta just kill everything. Yeah.
But yeah, so
I thought that was the weird thing because Alan Grant's walking around with a gun killing people. I thought that was kind of like a bit of a jump. Like, oh, this happened between Jurassic Park 3? Oh, that's weird. You know, because Jurassic Park 3, you just, you know.
I know. It
goes into like
in a video game, I always say, even if it seems kind of weird like that, it's like I don't really picture Alan Grant going around like a commando, but it's like it's for a video game, so it's like you kind of have to do it that way.
What if it was Ian Malcolm? That'd make it weirder.
I know.
But
there's just those weird things. Like overall, the podcast is really good, but it's funny. I will literally hear those small things like that, where it's like they do that, and you just kind of do your mind like, yeah, you call yourself a Jurassic Park fan, huh? Huh? Fucking, you think you're better than us? No.
We're starting a podcast war here.
I know. I fucking
For the
like. I
first
sent a
stone.
message to Cisco. I'm like, Cisco, we need to do a Jurassic Park podcast. Nobody else is going to talk about the video games but us. You're the only other person I know who's played like pretty much every other one of these. We got to sit down and do it because you know what? If the Jurassic fans aren't going to fucking do it, we got to do it. It's up to America. It's up to Old Man Orange to tell those Brits that those games are fucking damn good, and Ocean did a goddamn good job on making them.
Wasn't there like a first-person like survival horror one where I remember a lot of people complain about this, where you played as a girl and you'd have to look down at your own chest and you had like a heart tattooed to your chest, and more of it would disappear the little more health you lost or whatever.
That game's called Trespasser. I got it when it came out, like right when I got my Windows 98. And I kid you not, I think that game's fucking awesome. I think people are just dumb because it's one of those ones like that one sets you right on Site B, which I was literally thinking about downloading that game again today because I think JR fucking has my copy and he never gave it back to me. But that's on something that nobody has.
It's a branch that like 5 people know of.
Yeah. I let him borrow it a long time ago.
I know that motherfucker.
And he let me borrow Devil May Cry, and then I remember giving him Devil May Cry back, and I don't ever remember getting my Trespasser back. But I thought that game was really cool because it was one of those ones they just dropped you off on the island, like you were just kind of this tourist, and you fucking like, I think because Tom Hanks's movie Castaway came out, so like kind of like that. So you're on an island. And then you're just kind of walking around like, oh, this is kind of cool. And it kind of was one of those first kind of games where it's not like, this isn't like action-packed, Doom-like first-person shooter where you're just going around blowing dinosaurs away. It was more like you're just kind of exploring, and then you start finding, items and whatnot. And it was, for the time, it was so badass. And it still looks good to this day, just having the whole Site B to just kind of go walk around pretty much. I mean, it was broken up into levels, but it was still a humongous playfield. Mm-hmm. And then you'd pick up guns and whatnot. And then all of a sudden there'd be like a dinosaur, but since they were kind of like somewhat few and far between, it made them scarier because it was kind of like a survival horror.
Yeah.
But I think the problem people had is because like it had a weird kind of way of doing things. Like you use the mouse and you pretty much was like your hand. So you could go by and go like, okay, I'm going to grab this microphone. And you could pick it up and then you could chuck the microphone. You could pick up a chair and chuck it. You could pick up a blunt object and you could beat somebody with it. Like almost anything you could carry, you could pick up, which is kind of cool. But if you kind of like just shook the mouse around a bunch,
it was a weird mechanic though. Right?
Yeah, it was weird, but it wasn't bad. I'll say that. Once you kind of just got used to it, it played smooth enough. I mean, once again, didn't play smooth as let's say GoldenEye or something like that, or even for the time, let's go back to PC. Didn't play as smooth as something like Unreal. But it was just a cool concept of like it's supposed to be a survival horror game. You know what I mean? It's like Silent Hill. Silent Hill doesn't play very good either, but that's not really why you're playing it.
Mm-hmm.
Damn good.
No, I get you.
So that was so I had to get to that point where it's like, fuck it. If they're not going to make the podcast, I will have to do what they can't do.
A preview for what's to come, yeah. And I'd be on that one. I'm just like, yeah, I remember the Genesis one. That's all I'd have to say.
Well, that's what Cisco, because I told it to him. He's like, should we get anybody else on? I'm like, the only thing is nobody's played as many of those Jurassic Park games as we have. Mm-hmm. I was like, it's because it's something I've always kind of want to do is like a little Jurassic Park retrospect.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can do that for Jurassic Park, not the video games. I can probably do that for Jurassic Park because I've seen the movies and all.
Yeah, because I was thinking of doing one with literally just everything Jurassic Park. Because don't get me wrong, I like that. I like that podcast, but it's weird how those one comments will bother you. It's just that one. It's sort of like a Christopher Titus thing. It's like as much as I like him, whenever he does kind of do that thing where he starts like fucking pigeonholing people in the corner, just kind of going like those fucks that play video games all day and read comics, and then you're just like whoa. Back up.
He was pissed off about like I remember that caused me. I mean, it didn't make me like not like him anymore. It didn't make me like not listen to him anymore. But I took a break from this podcast because I was just that really did piss me off because it was one of those things he just got like did something. It wasn't even really comic book related. Someone got pissed off over Facebook and stabbed somebody, and then he just went on this rant about complaining about like comic book fans and like if you got this many comic books and you don't have a girl, you're a fucking loser. If you do this and if you like play this many video games and you don't in some way contribute to actually science, you're fucking just went on this big rant like, dude, these things have nothing in common of what you're complaining about. I see what you're saying, but you're getting your groups mixed up. Everybody has a fucking Facebook, and that's just not a fucking strictly a comic book video game thing that you're getting pissed off about. It was really just kind of like I know he's like not like super young, but like fairly young. He's in good shape, but he is really funny. He is really smart. But everyone, it's just like, dude, you're being a crotchety old fuck. Just like chill the fuck out and just you know what I mean. And it's coming from someone who met him and actually really liked him.
I know. I remember even said something too. I sent him something. I was like, yo, it's like, he's like. I told him, I think, like, I'm like, you know, when you talk down on video games and comic books and all that stuff, you just kind of sound like you just sound like an old man. And he said something back, like, and he was like fucking enraged too. He's like, oh yeah, well I fucking like ride motorcycles and jet skis and all this stuff. And I was almost kind of going like, and that makes you better how? Like,
did you write that back to him?
No, I think I might have said something else. I'm just like, I'm just saying though, it's like you shouldn't pitch it. You know, you shouldn't.
We don't have the money. We don't have the money. We don't have the money for a jet ski.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sorry. It's like, I think the only thing that's kind of weird is, if he was maybe a politician and he was saying that, like, that'd be one thing, which probably a politician wouldn't say that either because they would lose a lot of votes. But I think when you kind of go, let me just say this really quickly. You're a comedian. You're not a guy who's like, you know, putting a cure for cancer. You're not out there, you know, saving the world, you know, fucking Zorro style. You know, it's almost like I do that thing. It's like, what makes you any different than the guy that plays video games or writes comics? You know, it's like, it's sort of one of those things. It's like, it's like, you're almost downing your own kind, you know? And I know what he means I know what he means when he says it though. He's talking about those few people that you see out there that really just kind of go like, they don't really do anything. 70s
stereotype.
Yeah, like the ones like they live in their parents' basement. They just probably play World of Warcraft. Like I know who he's talking about. You know, and maybe they work just some basic job. You know, it's like, but once again, that's their choice. As long as they're not like
hurting nobody
or taking welfare and doing it or something like that. You know. Mm-hmm. I mean, not everybody's gonna fucking cure cancer. Jesus Christ! If we all cured cancer, we'd probably all kill each other.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know.
You know.
Too much population, so we got to go back to the killing.
But still, fucking, this all wraps all the way around to Batman Volume 5, New 52. Somehow, some way. Because, you know, I finally got it, was able to read it, and finish it after the thing was been out for almost 3 weeks. I was getting to the point where I was like, fuck, I'm just going to buy it on Comixology. And then I go on Comixology, I'm like, I'm not paying fucking $18 for a digital copy.
That's bullshit, yeah.
I'm like, I thought it was going to be like 13 or 14 bucks. I'm like, I'll pay that. I'll bite the bullet, whatever. And then I'll just get my physical copy. Fuck it. But I was like, no, not $18. Like, Jesus Christ, that's practically the price for the physical copy. Or that's exactly the price I paid for it. But yeah, Batman, Volume 5. This is the one that, like, we were really anticipated about, you know. And I know it's kind of, when you're talking about a book when they come out in trade paperback, it's almost like talking about a TV show when it comes out on season sets. But once again, so many people don't ever get around to it, you know, first time around, you know. Not everybody's buying single issues. Or if you're kind of like us, you know, you've lived in an area where you could never go out and buy single issues, at least not in the last 15 years. Mm-hmm. So the trade paperback's the way to go. You bypass the ads, it's cheaper, and you get a bunch of stories in one. And you get a nice hardcover just in case you need to use it as a weapon. Yeah.
Dual use. That's what Batman would do. He would have one, you know, he'd find multiple uses for it. So.
But the cool thing about this one is this is kind of like, I kind of thought the last one was supposed to be that one where it's like, this is going to be 0 year. This is that kind of like, because you'd see these pictures of Batman looking all road warrior like with like a bow and arrow, fucking on a motorcycle and shit, you know, short sleeves and everything. And I was like, oh,
purple gloves. They actually made a reference to the original Batman with the purple gloves.
The purple gloves, which one thing I loved about that Volume 5 though, the color scheme in it was so cool. It made it feel like you're kind of like reading an 80s comic. It almost had like the Watchmen color scheme.
It had a lot of like bright, vibrant, like almost pink. It's like tiptoeing between pink and red.
It was kind of like magenta, cyan. Yeah. It was really like, in a sense, your printer colors, but.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it was all really good. Yeah, it was very bright and very vibrant, but it was still a really good book and still totally felt like Batman. And the thing about it is because I don't think we ever talked about Volume 4. We both mentioned we read it, but we read it separate times, so we never came back around to it. Volume 4, basically, it's going into it was a fairly short book, but it was still good.
Because wasn't it only like 4 or 5 issues or something like that?
Well, I think the thing with Scott Snyder is he always does more than just a 6-issue like story. So one story, so like Court of Owls, I think it's 5 to 6, which that's
6 because on average I notice generally a graphic novel, at least a modern one, is about 6 issues. You know, that's about the average.
Then the next one was about only 3 issues, and then you got some extra stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
And that was City of Owls. And then we got like Death of the Family, which was its own
6 or 7
self-contained
issues.
story, 6 or 7, normal size book. This next one, 0 Year Secret City, which is basically him fighting the Red Hood gang. And that was really cool because you didn't know who the Red Hood was. I mean, you know it's Joker, but you don't know. I mean, if you're a fan, you know it's Joker. Little hints and nods they give you here and there. But it's kind of, he's just basically kind of, before he's even Batman, just covertly going after, trying to stop the Red Hood, but you don't know who's Red Hood or not, basically, because they somehow these people get blackmailed into basically working for him. And throughout it, there's a lot of nods to like original Batman as well as Year One and whatnot. But for the most part, it is its own story, and that's what's really awesome about it. And it's kind of, the thing about it is, you read 0 Year Book 1, and it's still good, but you get to the second one, and oh my god, the second one is so damn good, because it kind of almost takes things you know about Batman, and it's kind of going in like, all right, yeah, we know how this happened, but then what they end up doing is they almost kind of use that against you, and they make you think it's going left, and it suddenly goes right. Now, it doesn't do anything drastic, like Martha Wayne actually killed Thomas and herself, and she was actually a dude the whole time. Nothing like drastic like that. But
she was fucking Harvey Bullock on the side. Yes, she was the one doing the fucking.
Yeah. For all those wondering, yeah. Was surprising that she was doing all the work. Harvey's not going to do it. You fucking know that. He's not going to do it.
He just bent over and just ate some donuts.
He didn't realize it happened. Just threw a box of donuts in front of us. Oh, look at this. Some
donuts. Oh, I love them.
Oh, fuck. Turns around like, I'm already down here. Keeps on eating.
It's like, yeah, well, these donuts aren't going to eat themselves now.
I'm already down here. Might as well eat them while she finishes, you know. Or he, whatever it is. Well, no, so...
these are good donuts.
Anyway, that does not happen in the book, just to clarify. But no, that book is so damn good. And it finds a way to just almost kind of... Like something will happen. Like, Bruce is being kind of pissy with Jim Gordon. And then later, they'll just throw a little bit of information at you. And he'll say... Like, Bruce says something like, I know the role you had that night, you know, and just like, oh, shit, what'd they do? And they go back and they give, like, they kind of add to it. Scott Snyder puts in a little bit of his own little twist to it, and he plays around with it, and it still feels like Batman. It still sets in the rules of Batman, but at the same time, I'm glad to see they're kind of ballsy enough to go to certain areas, you know?
You talking about part of, like, the dog fight?
Yeah, because for a second they imply that Jim Gordon might have been involved with Bruce Wayne's murder. And then later, because, you know, whenever you think Jim Gordon, oh, he's the good, honest cop. He's never going to do anything wrong. Mm-hmm. And then in this, we kind of realize that at one point in time, he was actually a little bit of a crooked cop. Not like horrible like Flass or other crooked cops, but he was a little bit of a crooked cop for a while. And then what ends up happening is...
And the way I kind of look at that is like, it's almost like, he was just doing it because it wasn't like he was full on being the guy doing the trade. He was just more like turning sort of his cheek, just not looking at this at the moment. But he's like, once I get more power, then I can kind of start having my say. But at the moment, there's nothing I can do.
Mm-hmm. He was almost kind of chill about it too, though, at the same time. And then one night there was, I don't remember why he went somewhere, but he went over to where these other cops were. And there was this warehouse where all these cops were having these dogfights. It was cops,
mobsters,
druggies, just all these, you know, people who shouldn't be together, all hanging out together.
And politicians.
Yeah, and like all like having like dogfights and betting. And they made it so much more fucked up by they had like the dogs in cages, and they had a light electrical current running through the cages, so the dogs would always be rabid and always be crazy to amp the fight. Mm-hmm. So Gordon's like, I'm going to blow. This is, I mean, well, yeah, sure, I took a few payoffs here and there, but this is fucking wrong, man. We can't do this. You know, he leaves, and then they sick all the dogs on him.
Wait, first he's like, you know what, fuck you, I'm going to tell, you know, the police chief about it. And they're like, fine, he's coming by in a half an hour. He pretty much just takes our money. He's like, well, you know what, I'll go to the newspaper and do it. So you know what, fuck, which is kind of one of those ones like, I remember when I was reading that part, though, I'm like, that's not something you just fucking announce when there's like 40 guys around you. Like, you know what I mean? That's like you go like, huh, well, guys, I'm going to go pick up donuts, and then you fucking leave. It's like, you know, I mean, I know I guess for story sense that kind of works, but you just think it's like, are you just asking to get yourself like beat or killed?
I think it was almost kind of like he was naive in the sense of kind of like, I'm a cop. They're not going to kill me.
Yeah, I think he had that.
It
Because it was supposed to be like he was, I think it was like his third week, from at least Chicago. God knows how long he was in Chicago for. Enough to grow a mustache. That's all I know.
Yeah. And then they end up unleashing the dogs on him, and he's forced to kill them all.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, and then when he leaves, he just comes out all bloody and battered. He comes around a corner. He hears a gunshot, goes around the corner, and that's where he sees Bruce Wayne on the floor with his dead parents, just crying.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, oh shit. And he has this guilt complex about that, realizing I wasn't there when I should have been. If I never was part of that gang in the first place, I could have been out there to stop this from happening.
Because that was on his beat.
Kids.
Or his patrol route.
So he just had this, guilt that kind of pushed him into being the good cop. And I thought that was something really good because it all kind of gave him something, One of the most probably tragic and most beautiful scenes, I think it's one of the best scenes in the whole book, or in Scott Snyder's run for that matter, because we're so used to seeing Batman do good, and we want to see Batman do good. But every so often they'll have one where he fails. And there's this parallel action. A villain they bring into it is Dr. Death, which originally Dr. Death was just some miscellaneous kind of like Hugo Strange-looking scientist. But this one, they make him basically a monster that kind of, after he dies, but then he kind of has this rapid bone structure growing and almost turns him into this deformed-looking monster. And it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird imagery. It almost looks like, you kind of see like...
Spawn?
Yeah, I was thinking Spawn.
That's what I thought. I'm like, there's the Spawn influence right there.
And I remember just seeing like Bruce. Well, there's a part when like I'm glad because they brought blimps back to Gotham. We haven't seen blimps in Gotham.
Well, the cool thing too is there was a bat blimp.
A Zeppelin, yeah. There's I didn't put it specified. The Zeppelins, yeah. And the Bat Zeppelin was pretty awesome. And there's this big storm, and it's kind of like Batman's kind of went against the Riddler once and failed. Not like horribly, but went against him once and failed. This is the second time he's gone up to the Riddler. And there's a night of this big storm. Riddler shut off the power, but nothing too bad. He's just shut off the power, and that's about it. During this big storm, he's got this blimp. He's got this plan of how he's going to stop the Riddler. Everything's going in place. By this point, he doesn't really... He sort of trusts Gordon by this point. He's like, okay, I kind of trust him. We're not buds yet, but I kind of trust him. And this is before he's even all Road Warrior. This is still when, even though the lights are out, he still has his tech and all that. He has a bat blimp, and he's going to stop Dr. Death, who is basically manning some kind of like not weather control blimp, but some kind of blimp with some kind of like controls up there. And he gets to him, and they have this really awesome fight. Batman ends up beating him. But then, once he gets into the room to where he disable whatever doomsday device is going to happen, that's where he realized he doesn't have the right equipment, or there's no way he could win in the first place. This whole thing was made to lose. There's nothing he could do.
Well, Dr. Death knocks over like his the little receiver thing he has to stop it.
That's what it was. Yeah, he knocked it off. You read it last, so yeah, I'm going off my memory from
3 weeks ago.
3 weeks.
2 weeks ago at least, I guess.
So he goes in there. There's nothing he can do. He's trying to, and there's like this part where as the blimp is going down and we see Gotham just getting flooded with water, it cuts back to Bruce slamming his fist against like the console, screaming like, "No, we lost!" And then also, while all that's going on, it's cutting back to the night his parents were killed. And one of the last pages is just the blimp going down, Gotham all black, they lost. The next page you turn is just a full detailed picture of Bruce crying on the night his parents were killed. Yeah. So this is like had happened all over again for him. There's nothing he could do.
Yeah, so something he wanted to stop but couldn't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm. And it was such like it was for a Batman fan, that's almost like a little bit of a tearjerker. So yeah. That part really got to me, and I just thought that was such an amazing scene right there.
Because then the next part goes into, which this is probably like my only complaint. And I think it's only a complaint because, like, it's only about 3 or 4 of the issues are the 0-year part. Yeah. Which, the only thing about that, like, maybe I just kind of went in there and I was like, man, there's like, I almost thought the whole book was going to be 0-year. Maybe there's going to be like 1 or 2 issue buildup, but then the rest of the 6 issues was going to be, full on 0-year. And the parts that are cool there, but it's just one of those ones I was almost expecting Batman to like literally be out in Gotham like much longer, almost like kind of just traveling around because Gotham gets flooded, and then it looks like it's been like 3-4 years, but really because of Poison Ivy's in it originally, and her stuff goes crazy, and then the whole place is covered in plants and whatnot, so it looks like fucking Planet of the Apes. Did you lose it?
For a second, but I hear you now.
Okay. Are you out again?
No, I'm good. We're good.
Okay. But so whatever. Poison Ivy's crap is all covered over the place, and then the Riddler's got that humongous tower that has a giant question mark on it and everything like that. And it's all cool, though it does kind of feel like because I just kind of got not too long ago, even though I haven't finished it yet, but the first book to Batman No Man's Land. It's pretty identical to that so far, but the one thing about No Man's Land is that since there's so many fucking issues, it's almost like it spreads it out, which makes it feel like more intense, and each issue is kind of on different sections and whatnot. Batman doesn't even appear in the first couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it does, like, I guess it's one of those weird things where it's just like, if I didn't just kind of read that one, I think that part would seem a lot cooler, just being like, oh, this is so awesome, but it was kind of like, oh, it's just like No Man's Land.
Mm-hmm.
But my only thing is like, there was so much cool stuff you could do with that, make it really long, and I guess that's kind of where No Man's Land comes in. It's like, well, that's kind of what, if you want the really long version of it, there it is right there. But it is kind of just like, Batman goes in, he defeats the Riddler. That part's, it's all cool, but it's just kind of over really quickly. It's just like, oh, I kind of just wish you would see Batman, because he's got like this crossbow and everything like that, but he doesn't really ever use it. He's got the motorcycle. The motorcycle gets destroyed like after 2 or 3 panels of it. Mm-hmm. There's just all these cool things that I remember just seeing and just kind of like, oh, that wasn't really utilized or whatnot. I don't know. I pictured Batman just kind of being out there almost like in the wasteland fucking Fallout style of like Gotham 0 year, kind of like sneaking around Solid Snake and whatnot. And, almost doing all this kind of crime fighting. Even if the Riddler's still doing it, he's like doing all this other kind of crime fighting too, because there'd be so much shit going on. Which in No Man's Land, it's kind of cool because each area is like, certain gangs have areas, the police have a certain areas, other superheroes have certain areas, like, in a sense. So it's this huge turf war like thing.
I never read No Man's Land, so I didn't get that. So I guess maybe I know of it, but I guess it was just, I don't know. I guess it's a standalone story. As it moved along, I thought it moved pretty smoothly. It was pretty good. It's a pretty thick book. But,
yeah, it's 8 issues.
Yeah. But I sort of see what you mean there. I thought it was a really, I'm
not saying it's bad. I guess like knowing the possibilities of what it could have been, and then kind of how short that section is of it, I was just a little bit bummed. Overall, I think it was a really good story, and I liked everything in it. And maybe it's one of those ones because I was expecting just pretty much this Batman Fallout kind of like world thing, and just like all these different things that were going to be going on. And almost, it sort of kind of focused on just like the big part of the story, but I almost wanted to see more of like little things along the way, just like weird, creepy shit that Batman would discover along the way, what people are doing to each other, like now that there's no government or whatnot.
Well, I think they do a good job of just taking, you think, okay, abandoned city, how many things can you do with that? Or like, city ran by Riddler. But just, I thought it was kind of cool, just even though as simple as this is, I thought it was pretty cool when they actually go up, because what happens is Riddler, being the egomaniac he is, kind of says, okay, if you guys can come up here and stump me with the riddle, I'll just turn the lights back on. You don't got to worry. And nobody can stump Riddler. Batman goes up there, and he actually fails too. And if you lose, there's like this job of the hit, like, Rancor pit you get dropped down into. And some of the ways how he just gets out of situations, because there are like, I understand that, no normal person could do that, and they basically make him Bat God. But on top of that, it's just so cool some of the way they get him out of these situations. Because you read it like, I have no idea how he's going to do this, how he's going to get out of that, but they find a way, and makes sense for Batman really. And what's happening is he gets dropped down in this pit. And it's like this abandoned, I don't really know how to explain it exactly. It's basically
a parking garage.
It's a circular parking garage, kind of similar to like, I don't know how frequent these are exactly, but it's like a circular parking garage similar to the one in like the final fight in Mission Impossible 4.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me, just like that.
But there's 2 lions in there. And just Batman literally punches a fucking lion. He literally fights 2 lions. At some point, he has to get one off.
Doesn't he has to ride one of the lions too?
He wrestles one for a second, and he has to hide. He gets behind like a one of the cars like drinks gasoline, spits it out, then sets fire to one of the lion's faces for a second, then grabs the end of like his motorcycle, like he has like this carved out like bat symbol out in front of the motorcycle, takes that, bashes a lion in the side of the fucking head with it, like,
a
oh
shield,
my
like
god,
fucking Captain America style.
oh yeah, that is so badass. You know, I just loved that book all around.
Because I thought it was a good book, but maybe it was just one of those ones. Maybe I think the No Man's Land. It's kind of like we talked about this earlier, like when the Justice League War came out. It was like right before that movie came out. I watched that Superman episode where Doomsday came, and it was almost just the same story, just with just Superman and not the Justice League. And it sort of kind of went like, I felt like I just watched this. And I think that's sort of how No Man's Land kind of was. Even though the story itself was different, it's just kind of like the vibe felt the same as kind of No Man's Land. You know, like that same kind of world. Obviously, there was a bunch of sweet stuff in between, and it's all like the little things, like, all the stories of Jim Gordon, all the cool little things Batman does and whatnot. And maybe I was expecting I think I was just expecting the 0 year part just to be much more. And I think I've said that multiple times before, but it still was a great story. I still love the hell out of it, And then it even
Where would you probably rank this as far as
just the
Scott
Snyder's
books? Work so far?
I would probably say it's my third favorite. I probably would still say 1 and 3 I like more. And then I'd probably say this would be in 3, and then probably 4, and then probably 2. Maybe. I don't know. I think I have to go back and read those ones over again, but
not to sound like just kind of like a blind Joker fan, but I think Death of the Family I like more than Court of Owls.
Yeah, that is a pretty darn good one. I think the Court of Owls, though, just something about that one, especially first time around.
So different.
Yeah, it's just so different. I think that's what makes it such a cool book. And then there's just all kinds of things. Even the part where you got to literally spin the book around because Batman's all messed up. So it's like the book's all messed up in a sense. I think that was really cool. Small things like that.
As well as there's a part where a bunch of music just went off. So I think maybe we just won. Here I am saying we.
We.
No.
now you're part of that. Like, we're the team, which I always think is such a weird thing when people say that. It's like, are you one of the players? Are you one of the coaches? Do you have stock in the team?
There's a bunch of horns going off, and I do have my internet browser open. I could look it up right now, but fuck it.
That might take too much data up on our camera.
We'll know by the time the podcast is out, so fuck it. Yeah. But anyway, shit. Yeah, the whole thing with that was, I think that like with Court of Owls, I love that one, and I have no real complaints about Court of Owls. But I almost think that like I don't think I count Volume 2. I mean, to be honest, I don't think you can really count Volume 2 and Volume 1 as like separate stories, because they are the same story basically. It's just so happened one just can't. I don't know. I think it's just one of those things like, okay, well this is just like the last 3 chapters plus a couple little extras.
Well, probably sometime in the future, what they'll do is they'll release there's something called Batman Court of Owls, and it's just all like 10 issues or whatever it is, and just one thing, almost like Hush.
Yeah. They'll probably they did that with Red Hood as well. So they'll probably and the same thing with like 0 year. Like 0 year could already be its own like that. This is really part of the same story, and I think if you put them together, and now I think about it, most of it is kind of still urban city stuff rather than being kind of like post-apocalyptic stuff, is which we thought we were going to get. But I still thought it was an all-around awesome book, and I totally dug it. I just had it was like one of the. It hasn't been that rainy lately, but it was like just this really rainy afternoon. Just pulled it out, just read it in the coffee shop. Really, I don't know, just one of those perfect settings, perfect mood for it. Fantastic book. But I will say this, regardless of what we fell short of it, because I see what you mean. It did seem to go by a little quicker, but I guess I still love the book, and it still felt like I got a good port, not in comparison to the rest of it, but I felt like I got a good dose at least of the city being under like Riddler's control. The best part of it, and I think it's probably quite possibly the best like ending, just single ending to any Batman book, is there's a part where Bruce Wayne, here's a little thing they do. And they kind of show, like, because we'll have flashbacks, like, what the fuck happened here?
Every once in a while, Bruce Wayne in school.
Well, yeah, no, but we'll show, like, Bruce Wayne, like, in, like, he'll, like, it's kind of so fucked up. Like, every time he looks, like, when he's younger, whenever he looks at a male, he sees his father, and he sees him where his father was shot in the chest a couple of times. If he sees a woman, he sees like a bullet hole in their head because they changed it from she got shot in the neck to she got shot in the head.
Yeah.
And there's a point where, and they just have that every so often, like, whoa, what the fuck? And then they have a part where he goes over to like his girlfriend in college. Or I think it's college. He like, you know, it's kind of
college or high school. I don't know. You can't really tell. He still looks like he's fucking 35 years old, but they give him like a bat hoodie, and then it's like that's how you know he's younger. He's not wearing like a suit. He's wearing a hoodie or whatever.
It definitely top it off had like Run DMC on it or something, you know. Oasis or whatever. But
Rage Against the Machine.
I know exactly when this takes place. Okay. No, but like but there's a part where he goes to see this one girl, and it's kind of, I always kind of like, even though I like my serious Batman, I at least like getting a glimpse of happy Batman, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? I do like my serious Batman. I do like my, he's all work, no play. But I do kind of like every so often getting a glimpse of what he was like when he was happier or before he was Batman. And you see him being kind of a jokester, sneaking up, climbing up to his girlfriend's like dorm room and talking to her. And they have a little funny conversation. She's in some manga, and he just pokes a few jokes at it or whatever. And then he suddenly looks at her.
You should get superhero shit. Looks fucking at like the reader. That thing is fucking gay.
Just
Batman
like
said so.
Just 4 panels of him just looking at the reader, you know, turn the page.
He's just like, I got this new 52 book. It's great. Just like selling it.
Winks. Yeah. Little like authors know, like DC made us put that in there. You know?
They almost does one of those old-fashioned things of like, you know, comic books 20 years ago. Where it's like, quickly, go down and get out. You know, Superman, New 52, Aquaman, New 52. What are you waiting for? Don't sit there like a fucking idiot. Just because you're I know you're not done with this book yet, but go get it.
Now it's just kind of like they keep it vague
Your
enough.
mom has a credit card in her wallet. I know, I saw it there earlier. Go out and get it.
I'm Captain DC. I know everything.
Because that's one of the things. No. When you read all like the 80s and 90s, probably even farther back, they have it too. But where they just kind of say like, you'll be reading along, go like, to catch up, you know, turn to Action Comics 297 or whatever. Go buy it. It's probably on the stands right now. I see a copy. I see it at your local store. Go fucking get it. Like,
why are you still reading this, you stupid fuck?
You have to know where this character came from, right? This second.
Well, no, I'm right now reading a lot of, I got like the omnibus of Green Arrow, Green Lantern by Dennis O'Neil and Neil Adams.
Oh, I love that one.
So I'm reading that right now, and I just got a fuck ton of Green Arrow. That, the next Mike Grohl book that comes out after Longbow Hunters.
That's a good one too.
And then
those two are like some of the best ones that he did.
And I got the Kevin Smith, the first. I got the second one. I didn't realize I got the second one, but I got the first Kevin Smith one.
Did you get that big set? There was one that was supposed to come out around this time, and it was supposed to have all the Kevin Smith ones in it.
No, because I already had the second one, but I didn't realize that was the second one. So I came across the first one, just bought it right there. So
the nice thing about Green Arrow is, you know, like Batman, unless you were Bruce Wayne Rich, it'd be hard to catch up on all the Batman books because there's so many of them. But Green Arrow, he doesn't have that many books. You know, if you went out and bought about 20 graphic novels of his, you'd practically have mostly all the Green Arrow work. You know, or at least let's just say this, all the main Green Arrow stories. There's just
because he was one of those characters. He just has like a small little story in this anthology comic, or he made an appearance in like Flash or something before he got his own book. You know,
because I almost want to say that the Green Arrow, Green Lantern one, I think that all takes place in Green Lantern anyways. It's actually not a Green Arrow book. It's a Green Lantern book that features Green Arrow. You know, but even though it's like, yeah, type in Amazon, it's like you look and there's like, I mean, probably to get a lot of the stores, you're gonna have to go out and look for used copies, but
yeah,
you look online, it's like there's a little over 10, 15 of them maybe. But
no, yeah. So back to this real quick though. So basically,
Batman.
Yeah, back to the everyone's favorite superhero. Or should be everyone's favorite superhero.
Look at the microphone. I don't know how else to do that.
They feel the heat of my eyes staring at them. Yes. No, that sounds creepy. Anyway, no. There's so he looks at the girl, and then he suddenly sees her, and she has a bullet hole in her head. And then he falls down, and that's when he wakes up. He'll just have weird dreams like that every so often. And there was a part where he also has this image, or there's this other part where he has this image of him just like getting what looks like shock treatment. And he said he was trying to like at some point like just shock away and forget his family and just kind of forget everything. And he actually said that like something he did when he got that shock treatment is he tried to forget most of his childhood. He barely remembers anything from his childhood because of this shock treatment. He doesn't forget.
The whole point was like, because everywhere he went, he would see his mom and dad dying. So he was like, the only way I can think of doing it is I'm just going to go electrocute myself almost to death, but just enough to burn my old memory out and just kind of start fresh. And then he goes like, but the last second, I decided, fuck this. And he stopped. He's like, no. I know why I'm here. I know what I have to do. I can't forget. I have to remember. That's how I'm going to become a better man. That's how I'll become Batman.
And that leads into like shortly after he reveals that leads into something else. And there's this girl, the girl he snuck in to see earlier. She's there. Like Alfred comes in and says like, yo, you got this hot redhead here. Alfred's exact words, like, "Yo, Bruce, yo,
man, yo, Bruce,
check this shit out." Yeah, you got this hot redhead,
and this is all after 0 year. Riddler's defeated, town's back to normal. It's back to the Gotham we know this day and age.
And he says, there's this girl over here. Said she used to be you dated in high school or college or something, and she wants to see you again.
I don't know. She's just here.
I don't give a shit. Yeah. No, and then he basically says like. He says, "Yeah, Alfred, I don't know if that's such a good idea. I'm trying to do the whole Batman thing, and I think it's seeing some girl.
I'm trying to do this Batman act. Fucking, it's like it's just who I am, man. Why can't you believe it, Alfred? Why can't you just have faith in me?
Just let me be me, Alf. Just let me be me. No. He says, so I'm trying to do this whole Batman thing. I don't know if I really should see this girl." He says, "No, but Alfred's very like, no, I really think you should. I really think this is something you need. Please just see her." And he says like, "All right, tell you what, you go tell her whatever you want, and I'll be right here if you send her my way, okay?" So then Alfred goes over to her, and then it just cuts to Bruce and this girl having this nice conversation. I don't remember what the conversation is. It was nice.
I think it's a montage.
No, it starts off with a conversation, and then it leads into a montage, and then it ends with you see them getting old together, and you see them like Christmas morning with kids. Looking happy, and then Bruce looks over at Alfred and he smiles and says, "Thanks, Alf," or "Thanks, Alfred." And then
he even goes to the Zorro movie and everything.
Yeah, and then it cuts to like Alfred in front of the girls. Alfred. He like shocks out of it, and then he just has this look like, "So, what'd he say?" He's like, "I'm sorry." He says he looks over at Bruce and then kind of like back at the girl. And he's kind of contemplating. There's what I want, but then there's what I know he wants. And then he doesn't say that, but you can just kind of tell the look on his face. And he says, like, "I'm sorry, miss." Then you turn to the page, next just full page of Bruce.
"I'm sorry, miss." He's seeing someone.
It's like, "I'm sorry, miss." And then you turn the page, and then like an image of Bruce, like as Batman, just smiling, swinging over the city, with just this huge fucking grin on his face. He says, "He's spoken for."
Oh, yeah.
Like that right there, I think is one of the best endings you can give to a Batman.
That was a really good ending, but the only thing about that one, this goes back again, like, no, I've read.
You're gonna shit on my parade here. You're shitting on my parade, man.
That same scene happened, I think, to Captain Boomerang in one of them, and it was a really like amazing one, or somebody like that. Because I want to say it was a villain. It wasn't anybody good, and I'm going to Captain Boomerang though. I'm not 100% sure that was it. Where like there was this girl, like it was like, "We're gonna get out of here. Everything's gonna change," and then it shows him go through like this panel of like they get together, they get married, they have kids. The little kids are throwing boomerangs. Don't ask, or something like that. Once again, it might not be Captain Boomerang, but I'm thinking it's like him or somebody similar, and so on. They have this happy life, and then it shows them like old, sitting on the porch, looking at each other, and then it cuts to the next page, and he's just holding her there as she's bleeding out.
Yeah, but I that's something's kind of similar there. That is something a little similar.
It's like that's similar. I mean, it's definitely different, but like I guess it's another one of those ones. If I probably didn't read that in the last like 8 months or something like that, I would go like. It would be kind of like, it goes back to that thing, whatever the one you see first is always the one that seems the most like impactful. And then the one you see next, it's like, don't get me wrong, it's still a really good one. I still think it's a lot, but it's like, I already knew how this one was going out, I guess.
Well, I guess for me, because I like Boomerang. I think he's a good villain.
And was that the story, the fucking
Infinity Crisis?
Yeah, was that where that's?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't believe that there's any part where he's holding like a dead body or anything. But
maybe that was fucking in Green Lantern or something like that. Fuck,
maybe it was Green Lantern.
Because I'm trying to think that was the thing I was reading last. I want to say it was Green Lantern. I'm gonna have to go look that up. I'll be silent to look up and tell you, and I'll send you a picture of it.
Okay. But no, the reason why I think it's so impactful is because it is that whole thing like Alfred always wants what's best for Bruce, but he knows what he wants for Bruce and what Bruce wants is two separate things.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of that moment where it's like he kind of is like, I have this opportunity that can kind of like make him happy, and I know it's best for him. I know it's best for him, but I know it's what he wants, and this is the choice he has to make. And he looks so regretful, but at the same time, then it cuts to Batman, and just seeing him just smiling, swinging over the city, which is something you so rarely ever see with him, like with a smirk. But it's not like a, campy like 66 smirk. It's more of like kind of like
this is where he belongs.
This is what I like to fucking do. This is what I'm fucking
The city
doing.
is who I love. It's who I protect. It's what I do.
That right there, and I think that kind of nails that perfectly right there.
Because I'm the goddamn Batman.
They actually make a reference to the goddamn Batman. I think Snyder's like, you know what, fuck it. Everyone's gonna get pissed off at me, but yeah, I like the goddamn Batman. I'm gonna make a reference to the goddamn Batman.
Does he say that in there? I know Batman says "damn" in hell.
Because there's a part. No, he says no.
I'm the goddamn Batman.
He says, "How are you gonna do it?" And it cuts to like him driving the Bat blimp, and he says, "Because I'm the goddamn Batman."
Oh, does it say? That's awesome. I didn't know.
But it's partially censored out, but you can tell what he's supposed to say. I'm the god.
I remember looking at that because I thought it said he was the fucking Batman. I was like, dude, that's fucking ballsy. Well, because there's a lot of fucks in that book. I mean, obviously they're censored, but Jim Gordon says stuff like that, like, "Oh, fucking asshole."
Batman says so often.
Yeah, Batman says a lot now. What? I just feel like there was more fucks in that book than other ones, but that makes sense. Maybe that's what he was saying because it said like G censored. So I was like, what the fuck does that mean? I was like, oh, I guess he just says, because I'm fucking Batman, Alfred. Get it fucking correct.
I'm the fucking Batman.
I'm the fucking Batman. that would really be the next thing, because, you think about the comics of Batman, and they're practically borderline R, you know what I mean? Violence-wise, at least, and kind of like mature content as
I think they are R. They just
but when will be the next point where you're just reading and it just says like, because I'm the fucking Batman, and it's not censored, or like, maybe not Batman has to say it, but like other people will say it, because they always have. I mean, swearing's been in comic books since like the 70s ones have it in there too, but they say fucking hell and every once in a while, but they're always the censored like fucking Kubert style.
But there's the one they didn't say fucking, but they did say they actually did say God damn it and shit in Dark Knight Returns. And I'm not saying like, well, this book actually had swearing, so but I mean, it's one of those things. I guess for a Batman book, because you're not used to seeing that. That was one of those things like, oh wow, a Batman book. Because it's weird because you could have these books that have obscene amounts of violence, but God forbid we show Joker flip the bird. So because I remember in that book Joker by Brian Azzarello, which is a fantastic book.
It is totally violent.
There's no way around it. That is an R-rated book. That is a R-rated book. No way to spin it around. It's almost like Martin Scorsese in the 60s wrote a low level crime story, and then Rob Zombie directed it.
Yeah.
That's really the way the feel and the style of the book. And the whole thing, nothing about it screams, this is what your little brother could read this. Not at all. But for some reason, they can't show, they show a dude with a fucking, not just like a bullet hole, but a full gaping hole. I can see the other side through his head. They show a guy getting skinned alive. So many violent parts. But they can't show him they can't show him flip the bird.
Yeah, he's flipping the bird and isn't up like that or something like that. Kind of at the top of the page where you see the hand. You know what he's doing, but you just can't see it.
Yeah, and it said something to clarify it, and he gives one final salute to Arkham Asylum, and just boom, So a dude gets shot through the fucking neck, bleeding out the mouth. So it's like, but I mean, it's one of those things. I'm not sad that we couldn't see him flip someone off. That doesn't really bother me. But it's one of those things. Really, that's the thing you're going to hold back on of all things.
Yeah, I guess really flipping somebody off. Really it's almost like one of those ones. It's a gesture that's I guess you're not technically supposed to do, but it's not like he said fuck. To me, it's so much lower than fuck, even though that's kind of like what it means. But it's really one of those ones. It's almost like the PG version of fuck.
Spritle flipped the bird in Speed Racer, the movie, and that movie's a PG.
Exactly. Fucking Vegeta flips off in Dragon Ball, and that's only considered TV PG or Dragon Ball Z. But I know it's weird things like that, but it's like we're totally fine with all the violence, right? Oh yeah, the violence is fine, you know.
It's kind of weird. I mean, yeah. But no, that's like the one thing I think that kind of like defines like a lot of different comics is like, okay, you could have like obscene amounts of violence and still kind of walk away with sort of PG-13-ish, but we just got to keep like all the major curse words out, and we got to keep out the nudity, which I mean, it doesn't really like bring it down so much, but it just seems kind of weird. Of all the things we're going to slow back on, that's what we're going to slow back on. But yeah, no, 0 Year, fantastic read. I'm looking forward to the next one. I don't think Greg Capullo's on the next one. I think the next one is, I think Scott Snyder's still writing. But I think this is Greg Capullo's last one.
Oh, is it really?
Well, I haven't read it yet, but I grabbed the miscellaneous Batman comic, and I haven't read it yet. But it's Greg Capullo wasn't writing it. Scott Snyder wasn't drawing it, but Scott Snyder was definitely writing it.
And it wasn't like sometimes like whenever they're like the one shot stories, sometimes he has a different artist on that.
It may have been a one shot, but I want to say it was just the regular not like issued. I didn't get a chance to read it, but I grabbed it and flipped through it real quickly.
Really quickly, I wrote this down as a note, but now I'm not too sure what the fuck it means, so I probably wrote it late at night. It says, like, the story of Gordon's goat. Was that fucking in the book, or did I just...
Gordon's goat. I'm guessing that's autocorrect coming in.
That's what I'm thinking.
Well, there's his dog. He
had that pit bull that, like, it was like a sign that's, like, when he got, when he broke up the pit bull fight or whatever by killing him, they sent him a pit bull just to remind him not to come fuck around again.
Well, they said something like, you like playing with dogs? Maybe your daughter does. And then they said that. Then they sent her a pit bull puppy. So,
yeah, it's like I have no idea what the fuck that is. Sometimes you write notes though late at night too, and you're like, yeah, just things happen.
Gordon's goat. That sounds kind of creepy.
I know. Yeah, whatever I wrote down, whatever I pictured at that point in time, that just.
Speaking of creepy, we are kind of coming up on Halloween. I don't know if this is going to be before or after Halloween by the time this podcast goes up. But a quick question before I go on to this thing I want to talk about. Two things, kind of. Do you know what you're going to be for Halloween? You know what you're doing?
Nothing, because there's nothing to do. It's a sad truth of life.
Guy I work with, me and him, he's going to be going as Green Arrow. I'm going to be going as Arsenal. Don't know what we're going to go do. We're going to meet with some people, maybe go bar hopping. But yeah, my fallback was Bob Dylan. But now I spent all day trying to like find things for my Arsenal costume, and you can't get it exactly because it make it look really cool. You got to get armor and all that kind of stuff. But I'm basically kind of go with like New 52, so you can kind of make it look kind of slackish. Kind of like gonna get a trucker hat, gonna get some like maybe sunglasses or like a domino mask, and then kind of have like red like sleeveless vest kind of thing, and then I can't find red jeans without them being ridiculously fucking expensive. So I'll probably go with like black jeans or something. Maybe get something else black just so it matches on there somewhere. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I don't want to go in red. I don't want to go in red track pants or red sweats. That's just gonna look kind of creepy. So.
Yeah, just like kind of that.
I almost bought some red. I don't really want to buy like something for a costume I'm gonna wear once. If I'm gonna buy stuff for a costume, I want to make sure it's something I could at least wear again somewhere else. So
yeah. No, I totally would, but like, yeah, last year when we did something up here in Halloween, it was like one of the it was horrible. It was one of the worst Halloweens I probably not like bad like horrible things happened, but it was just there was literally nowhere to fucking go, and it's just kind of like if you're gonna dress up, you kind of want to dress up and have something to do. So
well, this year Halloween is on a Friday, so there might be something for you guys to do.
I can't. It's like the only thing that there ever is like in like smaller
see what
areas.
RJ and Cameron are doing.
Is that like I don't think they're doing. They might just be playing video games or something like that. But
or movie marathon with RJ and Cameron. There you go.
But yeah, could do that. I don't know. But it is one of those ones like you want to dress up and go somewhere, but then you kind of go like, well, when nobody else dresses up, or the only thing people are doing are going to the bar, it's just kind of like, oh, this is exciting. I feel like really what Halloween needs to be. It needs to be like Comic-Con, where you go there and people aren't there just to drink and get depressed. They're there because they're like, fuck yeah, everybody's gonna dress up, we're gonna buy shit and whatnot. It's like almost Comic-Con's that like event that happens, because there's probably a Comic-Con every month or so, give or take, in about a regional area. And that's almost like having a little Halloween every couple months. And that's like a good Halloween. But I feel unless you live in a city, there's not really anything to too much do for Halloween.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what I'm doing exactly. I'm just going to meet with some people, and me and this dude, he's going as Green Arrow, I'm going as Arsenal. I'm like, oh, okay, it's easy, it's doable. So That's what I'll let you know. I'll let you know if I have any stories for that, or if it's just kind of like, oh, same as last year. Just kind of went around, got kind of depressed, went home.
I don't know. I remember when I was in San Francisco, there was like, for Halloween, we went to like this. It was like the foreign people's like not hotel, but like apartment complex or whatever. Sounds horrible.
Hostel?
But
They're hostel?
it wasn't really a hostel, but it was. I gotta say this. It probably wasn't that far off from being a hostel. And all it was people from all around the world that weren't American in this hotel complex. And we were like at the very tip top, and there's sort of a party going on. I remember my friend Ronnie, he was dressed up as fucking Speed Racer, and Cisco was dressed up as Elton John. And I just kind of I just had like a mixed match because I couldn't afford a costume. So I just kind of had, I think I just threw together some stuff that we had around. I remember there was another guy that we knew, I can't remember his name now, but he's dressed up as Marty McFly. And there's all sorts of people up there. And people from Germany, people from France, people from the Philippines, people from Russia, Estonia, all sorts of places and whatnot. And I remember that being fun. There was all sorts of things going on, card games.
Yeah, get that going on. That sounds fun.
Yeah. There came a point though where like I realized that nobody was speaking English anymore, and that was kind of, it was like, oh, I guess it's time to go. once you just hear like just this like mixed mash of like Chinese and French and Estonian and so on, and you're just kind of like,
was this like North Beach?
No, it was like, fuck, where was this?
Italy?
No, definitely not that far away. It was somewhere, but it got to be somewhere in about a 4 or 5 block radius of Union Square. Couldn't tell you where.
Oh, okay.
I remember we got in like the elevator of that one, and it went down. And as we opened the door up, there was a fucking like a foot step up, so we had the maximum limit over the weight. And it was just kind of that one where you're like, okay, step out quickly, but hopefully not a Resident Evil thing's going to happen where it closes on you and then goes up, you're like, ah! Ah!
Was that in like one of the movies?
Yeah, in the very first Resident Evil, like
it's been a little while.
Very beginning of the movie, the elevator craps out like in the Umbrella lab, and the lady's like, I can squeeze out, I can make it out. And they're like, okay, you go ahead. And she's going out, and then she gets the doors like close on her, and she's stuck, and she's like, pull me back in, pull me back in. And then next thing you know, the elevator turns back on again, and then it goes up, and it just chops her head off.
Half.
No, it chops her head off, if I remember correctly.
Okay. It's been a while since I've seen the first one.
I remember there was a video I saw on YouTube. I don't know how I came across it, but there was like this black guy, and he was watching Resident Evil, that part, and he looks, and then like, head gets caught off. He's like, oh my gosh. And then he gets towards the elevator, and he stops, and he's just kind of like very iffy about it. Like, and then the doors open, and he just runs in really quickly and goes to the very back and is against the wall. It's just something like, what Resident Evil does to you. But so that was kind of cool there. So it's like if there's an event where I could go and there's a lot of people dressed up and that's kind of the whole point of it, then that's cool. But lots of times that's few and far between. A lot of times you're going to go somewhere, people are going to be drinking, and then there's going to be like one guy with like a mask on that he bought at Walmart for $3, and that's what he considers a costume.
No, don't sell it short. There's no Walmart here. There's Target. So mask you bought at Target for $3.
There's no Target here though. That's what I was talking about.
Oh,
you got all kinds of things probably going on. You just got to figure out where something is.
I want to actually say real quick, I didn't even have to look it up online. Apparently the Giants won because nothing but honking and screaming and cheering going on outside.
Yeah,
so,
the second you left, that's all I could hear. It was like, rah, brr, 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 and so on.
Oh, okay.
So I guess
anyway.
That's the final game, right?
Yeah, that was the World Series. We won World Series, I guess. Here goes say we. I get
see once again. Now I go like, poor Kansas City. It's been 29 years. Poor guys can't seem to catch.
Well, for Giants, it was 50 years before, like 3 years ago.
Yeah, I know, but I think that this is the third one they've won in 5 years.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Third one.
I guess I just get this weird thing. Like I always feel like, can't we all just score some points here? Feel good about.
Can we all just get along?
Can we just all like I don't know. I guess maybe that's why I'm not a sports person, is because like,
well, even
I'm not really into like totally like, I don't know. I guess maybe it's like I always feel so bad for teams when they get that like trash talk told them like that team fucking sucks. It's like, why? Do you know those guys personally? It's like, no, they're stupid. They're from Texas. Of course they're dumb. And you're just like, oh.
Well, actually, they're probably traded from like Massachusetts.
I bet you half the people in the Dallas Cowboys aren't even anywhere near Dallas, let alone Texas itself. I mean, look at that. Even the 49ers, when they do that thing whenever you watch a game every once in a while, and they name off all the players, like where they came from or whatnot, it's like, I remember it was one 49ers game I was watching with my dad, and the guy, they named off every single thing, and I was like, Not a single one of those guys went to school in California.
Nope. Kind of, yeah. No, like whenever, even like when I went to, occasionally when I do go to a Giants game, I'm always right next to some guy screaming at the other players, like, "Come on, get that guy Garcia!" Just freaking like losing their shit. And then like I'm just kind of sitting there, I feel like a total pussy, but I'm just sitting there like, "Hey, he's got a lot of eyes on him. He's probably nervous right now." No, I'm not stupid enough to say that shit out loud. But I'm kind of like, he's nervous. I'd be nervous too. Can't we all just get along, fellas? Come on, But you guys are just getting this total like this total like bro roid rage.
Well, it's whenever.
But anyway,
one of my favorite things is whenever people go like, "Oh, that player's so horrible. You know what? They need to go back to college and learn how to throw a football." I always just kind of do that thing. I was like, let's see you go down there and do it. I would like to see you go down there and throw a football better than that guy does. No, literally.
Yeah.
You go down there, you walk your a fat ass down there and throw a football better. Tell me if you can do it. If you can do it better than him, then you can say that statement. If you can't do it better than him, then shut the fuck up.
that's kind of how I feel the same way.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just that weird mentality. I just don't get it. That's why I fucking like comic books and fucking stories and movies and video games. Even though I guess video games become the same. It's like, well, there's like competition there. It's like, yeah, but it's different.
Yeah.
It's a friendly competition.
Well, you're the one in control. You're the one in control there, where you're as opposed to watching other people.
Yeah, it's not like, I guess that'd be equivalent of like putting on a Madden video game and then letting the players duke it out, or having the computer duke it out with each other, which I always thought was the weirdest fucking feature in video games. Where they have like fighting games have that too, where it's just like you can have computer versus computer.
Why?
Yeah, it's just like, what? The only thing I can imagine is like, are you going to throw a fancy party and in the background you're just going to have fucking Dead or Alive, like with the computer playing it?
What if the computer, that almost seems kind of like, fight your brothers and sisters to the death. You know what I mean? Like in their little Tron world, like Mario, like in playing Smash Brothers, like Mario and Peach, like, I don't want to, but the master's making us,
That it would be kind of classy though, because I always think of these kind of classy act things. If you had a fancy party, if you had just in the background, you just had like Street Fighter, and it was just like going like on a constant loop of like different like computer battles, and that was like your background. You know what I mean? Or if you had a fucking restaurant, if people have sports restaurants where they got in the back, they got games going, and some places have movies and television and whatnot. Picture of video games in the background, just kind of the computer's just kind of playing them, and that's just like your background. You know what I mean?
That'd be interesting. That'd be kind of interesting.
Like my other really classy act thing here. This is for like a movie, or I mean for either a restaurant or a party. Is just have silent movies playing in the background the whole time.
There was actually there's some bar. I was totally hammered. I don't remember where it was at exactly, but there's some bar here with an Asian theme, and they had just a bunch of different like Japanese stuff on television. But at one point, it went to as far as like showing like anime porn, like tentacles and shit. So, but it would like quickly just like show 5 minutes of whatever and just move on down like this loop they had of shit. So yeah,
just kind of like, well, that'll definitely keep you the.
It was old 70s like samurai movies. Then it cut to like random, like it looked like daytime, like Japanese soap operas. Then it cut to like a normal like 80s looking anime. Then like a game show, and then anime porn. So yeah,
just keeping it fresh, I guess. I mean, you got to have something to watch there, especially if you're like at that point where you're sitting there and when you've ever been somewhere where like you go there with somebody else, and the next thing you know they're like off in the corner talking to somebody, and you're just kind of sitting there like, yeah.
At least gives you something to talk about. Like, look at this fucked up shit. At least gives you like a conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, speaking of fucked up shit, now I was kind of just I was looking up something for this thing I want to write. And I just kind of fell down the Wikipedia hole, basically. And I came up on this thing on like different Japanese demons. And I'm just going to read this little like Wikipedia article on this Japanese demon to get us in the spirit of Halloween.
Okay.
I'm not really into Japanese horror films so much, but this is just so weird and interesting, I had to share it. Okay, I know I'm going to mispronounce this, so bear with me here. Kuchisaka Onna.
Uh-huh.
A slip-mouthed woman, this is the translation, is a figure appearing in Japanese urban legends. She is a woman who is mutilated by her husband and returns as a malicious spirit. When rumors of alleged sightings began spreading in 1979 around the Nagasaki prefecture.
It was just one of those ones with the phone. It's like, you woman did not make my samurai suit sign. Perfectly. I will have to mutilate you in tradition.
You call this peppered sake or pepper? Yeah, peppered sake. Yeah, peppered sake. It was funnier in my head.
Sake a thing? Like I've never even heard.
I was thinking sake. I was thinking sushi, peppered sake. Sake or sake, or I don't know how you pronounce it.
Peppered sake before.
Salmon.
They put pepper.
Salmon, like it's like sushi. It's like a little like
sushi or sake. Because sake is the drink.
I want to say sake or suki or sake. It's spelled
Sake.
S-A.
Give me some of the sake there.
Got some of that roll. Give me some of that nice warm sake.
I like a nice warm steaming sake.
It's spread throughout Japan and caused panic in many towns. There are even reports of school.
Listen to the way you just read that. I was like, I love like a nice warm sack, and you're like, it's spread throughout Japan.
Just this giant sack just trampling its way through. Like,
people running away like, oh god, we thought it was bad when Mothra and Godzilla were fighting. Oh fuck, no, there's a giant nut sack.
You're like, go Shiga, go Shiga.
Spreads his balls across the land.
There are even reports of schools allowing children to go home only in groups escorted by teachers for safety, and of police increasing their patrols. Recent sightings include many reports in South Korea in 2004 about a woman wearing a red mask who was frequently seen chasing children. And in October 2007, a coroner found some old records of a late 1970s about a woman who was chasing little children. Wait for it. She was then hit by a car and shortly died after. Her mouth was ripped from ear to ear. Now I'm going on to the modern urban legend. The modern urban legend. Okay, this is where it gets kind of funny, right? This is just kind of like, this is almost, it sounds pretty scary at first. It's one of those things. It's kind of like half and half. They'll give you some scary shit, but then they'll like pepper, like, oh, isn't that kind of cute? Isn't that kind of funny?
Isn't that kind of cute? She got hit by a car. She learned her lesson.
Well, here's this one, okay? Here's the overall legend. According to the legend, children walking alone at night may encounter a woman wearing a surgical mask, which is not an unusual sight in Japan, as people wear them to protect others from their colds or sicknesses.
Or the SARS.
The SARS.
That was China.
The woman, where was I? The woman will stop and ask a child, "Am I pretty?" If the child answers no, the child is killed with a pair of scissors, which the woman carries. If the child answers yes, the woman pulls away the mask, revealing her mouth is a slit from ear to ear, and asks, "How about now?" If the child answers no, he or she will be cut in half. If the child answers yes, then she will slit her mouth like hers. It is impossible to run away from her, as she will simply reappear right in front of the victim. Here's where it gets kind of interesting. When the legend reappeared in the 1970s, rumors of ways to escape also emerged. Some sources say she can be confused by the victim by answering her question with ambiguous answers such as, "You're average," or "so-so." So it seems kind of like this thing's coming after you, like, "Am I pretty?" Like, "You're average." Wait, what?
I don't know. Put a paper bag over your head, then ask me again.
Unsure of what to do, she will give a person enough time to escape while lost in thought.
So, like if you like whip out like a meat sausage and slap it across her face, she'll just be like, the fuck? And just stand there for a bit as you run off quickly.
Like, oh shit, it happened again. They know my weakness.
They know my weakness. Sausage.
Or just kind
of my husband mutilated me with his sausage.
It was so wide, it split all ends. Now, here we go. Another escape route is to tell her one second. Another escape route is to tell her one has a previous arrangement. She will pardon her manners and excuse herself. Like, "I'm gonna fucking kill you. I got somewhere to be." Oh, okay.
So the Japanese, sorry. Customary kindness kind of comes in. Like, "So sorry.
Please carry on. Please carry on. Am I pretty? I got shit to do." Like, "Oh, carry on."
Fucking ask somebody else. Come on. Jesus Christ, lady.
I don't
want to get SARS from you.
In some variations of the tale, she could be distracted with fruit or candies thrown at her, which she will then pick up and give a chance for the victim to run away. So just like, I'm gonna fucking kill. Oh, candies, awesome! Like, fuck.
I wonder if this will work for like muggers in like America. Could you just like they come at you like give me your wallet, and you just fucking throw a pack of like Sour Patch Kids on the ground? They're just like, oh, Sour Patch Kids, and then next thing you know, you're fucking running away.
Yeah.
Because who doesn't like Sour Patch Kids? Come on.
What if they just said like, "Give me everything you had," and you just pulled out like a perfectly wrapped like candy bar, just hand that to them? There would be a split second where they look down like, "Is that cookies and cream?" Smack him in the face, runs away. She will also be at an advantage to run toward you if she has the chance. Another way is for the child to ask her if she is pretty, and she will get confused and leave.
It's almost like she's kind of like partially retarded.
Yeah,
like she just got confused.
Here's another one. All right, I got two of these. This one's a lot shorter, but this one's almost kind of like there's a little bit more to play with that one. Now I'm gonna give credit where it's due. I unfortunately didn't write down the author's name. There's an article on Cracked that said 7 monsters the Japanese are afraid of. 7 weird monsters Japanese are afraid of. So just go on cracked.com, type in Japan. I want to say it's 1 or 2 down the list. That's where I first saw this thing. I just went straight to the Wikipedia article just because I don't want their funny overlapping with our funny. So anyway,
exactly.
Here we go. I know I'm gonna mispronounce this thing, but it is called. I'm not even gonna say what it means. I'll tell you what it means afterwards. You can probably figure it out.
Okay, let's hear it.
Shirime or Shirime. Shirimi or Shirime? Yeah.
No, you're asking me this like it's a question. I don't have it sitting in front of me. If I had the material, then I'd look it up. But
okay, I could go ahead and. All right, is a strange ikai, whatever that is, with an eye in place of an anus.
Well, that could be so. It's the brown eye
monster.
The
story goes as follows: long ago, a samurai was walking at night down the road to Kyoto. Create the scene, Spencer. So you be miscellaneous samurai. Sweet. Long ago, samurai.
Like, I am walking down this street here, and it's gonna go down and find myself a nice glass of sake. And along the way,
in Japan, Halloween in the feudal area before Halloween existed. When he heard something calling out for him.
Hello? Who's there? Who is calling my name?
That's the noise. Noise I'm making for it.
Sounds like ancient bird. I shall kill it.
Who's there? He asked nervously.
Who's there? Wait, did the creature
Only
ask that?
To turn around to find a man stripping off his clothes.
What are you doing? Put your clothes back on.
Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me.
Well, it's late at night and looking.
I'd fuck me hard.
As long as there's not a mirror in front of us, it won't be gay.
Stripping off his clothes and pointing his bare buttocks at the.
Is he like doing the Jim Carrey thing, like fucking like doing the butt talk?
Maybe no. The flabbergasted traveler. A huge, glittering eye then opened where the strange man's anus should be.
Oh no, he's a brown-eyed monster!
And then this creature was so liked by the haiku poet and artist Busan.
I will marry this creature and call it my own.
I will name you Captain Crunch.
And I will take you to a deserted island where we will have a great time.
Now, here's the funny thing. There's actually an illustration of this thing. And it's like one of those old school feudal, just kind of like line drawings, like almost calligraphy style line drawings. And the illustration is literally of, I've seen like, more comical versions of it, but it's literally one of those old school drawings of like what looks like kind of like a faceless mannequin, kind of like bent down, showing its asshole where there's an eye, and then just this like silhouette of a samurai with this. You can't see his face. The silhouette with this posture. It's like, the fuck.
that just makes it funnier when it's an older picture, because like if somebody's drawn to be funny, that's one thing, but this one, somebody probably drew it with like serious intent.
Well, another thing is, most of like old legends and whatnot, come in like superstition come from one guy saying, dude, you would not believe this fucked up shit there I saw. It's a man that was a monster, and it was probably just some guy like covered himself in mud and like leaves or something.
And this guy was probably hammered on his way home that night. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, whoa, Jim, you wouldn't believe what I just saw, man. There's a man covered in leaves, in mud. It looked like fucking Sandman. No, not Sandman. Fucking. It looked
Tree
like, huh?
Tree Man.
Tree Man. No, not Tree Man. Look, you know in Batman, the clay guy, yeah, Clayface. Yeah, it looked like that, man. But then he bent over and spread his butt cheeks, and inside was an eye, a brown eye. It's like, Bill, fucking quit drinking and walking home that lonely road you go every night.
You know, this whole legend had to start off with one guy saying, "You like what you see? You will like what you see here." You know, like fucking spreading his butt cheeks, showing it off to him. That's how that had to start. The samurai, he was probably drunk off his ass of sake. Like, the fuck is this? You know?
What? And there's just probably some guy passed.
I swear it winked at me.
He probably passed out like on his head, so he looked like a fucking ostrich with his head buried down. And just somehow, some way, his pants fell down. You know, it's like a cartoon. The pants just seem to fall down easily. I don't know why that is. So like you fall over and somehow your pants fell down and your ass is sticking up.
Just some way it happens that way, yeah. So yeah, I just, you know, getting the spirit for Halloween. I felt like sharing some of that right there.
Well, that right there in itself, that's something to be feared. Now, does that thing do anything? Does it kill you or anything like that? Why is it scary? I mean, like, it's weird.
It walks around like
does it walk around like bent over, like grabbing its ass cheeks, just like coming at you?
The illustration I'm looking at, it's just something
like just like just somebody walking backwards at you with like their ass coming at you.
It's like what it looks like. It's some guy on his hands and on his feet, kind of walking backwards with his ass up in the air, like, you want it, you like what you see, and there just happens to be an eye where the asshole should be.
He's like, $10 to touch it, $4 to watch me wink it. That would be the impressive thing. Can he blink with his brown eye?
Say. Oh. I'm guessing the cheeks have to close, you know. So yeah, I just feel like sharing that. That's as much as it does. I think it just like pesters people. I walks up like, hey, ain't this fucked up? Ain't this fucked up, dude? I'm walking down this feudal Japan trail. Leave me alone. It's fucked up, right? Look at me. Like, I don't want to look at you, dude. Fuck off. You know.
Just fucking pokes him in the eye. Oh, whoa, dude, what the fuck? What the fuck, man? You don't just come around poking people in the eye. Fucking brown eye for that shit.
Like just shambles itself back into the trees and just waits for someone else to come out. Like, hey. Ain't this fucked up?
It comes out, it's got an eye patch on.
I just see like this like, weird.
Do you have a fucking eye patch on your butthole? They're like, yeah, the last guy fucking poked me in the eye. What an asshole, right?
The translation.
Right? I mean, like, I know you're probably thinking I'm the asshole here. I mean, I'm looking at you with my ass, but come on.
Snare drum. Yeah. No, literally the translation is buttocks eye. That's the translation.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I just see him just kind of just pestering people like, it's fucked up, right? Look at me, you know, I need attention, you know.
This would make for a creepy animation. You could just have like this like ash, like it's all dark. The samurai's walking home. Maybe he had about one drink too many, and it's kind of scary. He just starts hearing rustling in the bushes and whatnot, and he looks up. He doesn't see anything. Keeps going, walking a little bit farther. Hears some more rustling. He looks up really quickly and he feels like he sees an eye. It looks left, looks right, then kind of darts back in. He kind of wrings out his eyes a bit, rubs them in, and goes, oh, okay, keep going. As he goes farther on down the road.
This is like the Japanese Sleepy Hollow.
Next
you just have to get to the other side of the bridge, and this thing just like fucking crawling after you backwards. This fucking brown eye.
Just chasing him down. He's running across the bridge. Oh, fuck. What is it? What is it?
It will steal your eye. It doesn't want your head. It wants your eye.
Yeah, that's what it's looking for.
Yeah. It's like cheeks slap over and close over your face and suck out.
Just like the sound of like a golf ball being sucked through a tube.
Just like, oh, then it runs away back in the bushes. Like no. Like, whoa.
Just all quick and scary like what the fuck is...
Yeah, no, it doesn't say it actually does anything. It's just it's there.
Just there.
No, granted, if you're walking and some dude just started you know, straight up like walking the way they, I'm not sure if it's meant to be this way, but it almost looks kind of like a genderless mannequin kind of walking with just an eyeball for an ass.
Yeah.
So for an asshole. So I think that it's maybe just this. Yeah, I don't know. Like
If his
this.
asshole's an eye, what is his nuts and dick? Is that like his
There
mouth?
is nothing. There's
Like his
nothing there.
nose? Oh.
There's nothing there. It's like a face. It's like a no face on the no face where there should be a face. No.
It's
Dick
not
or
like his
nothing.
balls are talking to you, and then like his nose is like his fucking dick hanging down, looking at you,
That's a Tengu.
sniffing you like
A Tengu
it
has
comes
the
up
dick
from
on-
behind and starts sniffing you like a dog.
No, Tengus have a dick on their nose. At least I think at least they look
That's what
like
they look
that.
like they have.
You find some weird.
I wonder if
fucked up-
this thing.
when I was-
This sounds even fucking weirder. Like a fucking Tengu comes up, grabs the eye ass man, and just starts fucking it.
Oh, I guarantee you look for it. When I was looking up, because I'm just looking up, like I was looking up Japanese demons for this one thing. Tengu porn was one of the first fucking things to pop up. Like, were you looking for? It's like, no, I
No.
wasn't.
I just wanted to learn a little history now.
I don't even need to look. Believe me. So just so if you want to know what I'm talking about here, this thing, I'm not going to even say try and pronounce it. It's Shirime. I went on Bing and because I saw a picture of it, and like I got to find the details on this thing, and I saw a picture of it, but if you type in Japanese butthole monster, it won't pop up. A lot of other things will pop up, but not this.
Not what you're looking for.
Not what you're looking for at all. No. So yeah, the Shirime or Shrine. So
Huh.
keep that in mind.
That should be the next Halloween monster. You know, we've seen everybody else, but we have not seen this.
This would be fucked up. This sounds like a Silent Hill monster.
It really does. I wonder if has anybody ever made a movie about it or anything like that? Like,
it
on
doesn't
Wikipedia sometimes will give you like the references where like other things are.
I'm looking down on it. It just says folklore tales. It doesn't say anything about other media. The other one, the cut face lady, that has like several animes. Manga.
Yeah, that one sounds like that's just instant material right there for something. Now the butthole monster.
I want to see if it's as stupid. I want to know if that monster. I want to see if the slit face lady is as stupid as, like, you get to the third act, like, oh, she's gonna fuck with. Here's some candy. Oh, candy, awesome.
Fucking Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah.
Just like sprinkle it around her feet. She's just like down there like eating them, like picking one up.
One by one.
Yeah. And then next thing you know, the fucking butthole monster comes by and just then just leans over and starts picking up its ass.
Just like tosses it up, like the butt cheeks clap together, like it's trying to chew them, like, you know.
And then it just kind of falls out, just like it just has no mouth.
It just wants to eat, but it can't, you know.
I think that's the thing to do. Somebody's got to make. I don't know. I think you could make a really cool video of this. I don't know if I'd want to sit down and just draw a bunch of like.
You're like, somebody
ass
should.
eyes.
See.
Oh yeah, I'd like to see it though. I'm very interested in the horror movie one where the fucking samurai's walking home.
Somebody should. I don't think you need. Here's the thing, this would have to be a like one monster of several monsters in this one movie, because you can't just show this right off the bat, because people are going to be like, what is it? What is it? You know, when you finally see it, oh, it's just a butthole eye monster.
Well, that's what I was. Let me phrase it. I was thinking of a short, like something that was no longer than about 5 minutes long. I don't know if this could handle a full feature-length movie. I mean, obviously, yes, if it's one of many monsters, then yeah. But I was just thinking, I just like to see the 5-minute version of the story, this folklore.
This could be the new Jack the Killer or the new Slender Man.
Exactly. Come on, it'd be like. You want a trilogy? You want a big set of movies here now? Fucking, you want the next Saw? I got it right here. It's been around for what 500, 600 years plus.
What's it called? Japanese butthole monster.
Well, that's the American translation of it, you know.
Lux already sounds more interesting than Jack the Killer, so yeah, go for it.
Japanese butthole monster.
Well, you got a Slender Man movie on the way. Why not this thing?
Hell, why not? Perfect one for it. But. Well, that's probably a good place to wrap up at, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how we're going to top the Japanese butthole monster, so.
Yeah.
Make sure to go out and check out Drunk Batman and Robin, Episode 9. You can catch it so far on YouTube, Newgrounds, and Vimeo. And we all know Vimeo can always use the fucking views because nobody fucking is on Vimeo.
Vimeo is wonderful.
It's one of the nicest fucking websites I've ever seen, but nobody's fucking on there. The only people that are on there are creators themselves, and that's it. But other than that, you get such a fantastic presentation. But still, you can see it on YouTube and then go to Newgrounds, because Newgrounds is always good. You know, they're like the good YouTube. YouTube's just there because they're the catch-all. You know, they'll take all your shit and then some. And no, they don't ask you for a fee or anything. You know, you can really just dump all your files onto that place. But check that out. Go to oldmanorange.com. Send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. And until then, drop something. Why are you so far down?
It's the butthole monsters attacking Spencer.
He's getting me. He's attacking me. That's okay. I got this pen. I just gotta poke his eye out, and then he can't see me.
Can we leave out on some spooky kind of music?
It'll be like Ulysses, you know, like when he has to battle the fucking like one eye, like the Cyclops and whatnot. Just picture like me, I'm fighting off the fucking butthole monster and stuff, and he's eating half of my men. God knows how he ate them. And next thing you know, I'm trying to like bribe him and everything, and then I heat up my fucking pen really in like a cigarette lighter. Or I got a fucking lighter right here. I'm heating it up. And then I poke him in the eye, and then I run on out, and then he cries out to his dad, like, Dad, why? He poked my eye out.
The big giant butthole monster comes out then. You realize that was just his baby.
You know, really, like, Ulysses kind of fucked himself over when he did that, because after he poked his eye out, he's like, ha-ha, you stupid asshole. Well, guess what? I want you to fucking know who did this, because I don't want any other motherfucker taking credit for it. Because you know what? I am fucking Odysseus, so fuck you. Remember that name, you fucking one-eyed, you no-eyed fucking monster? Here's my fucking card. Oh, right, you can't fucking read it. Well, whatever, keep a couple anyways. I got a lot of them, you know. Fucking Vistaprint was having a sale. Fuck you. And then, because, you know, that really starts off, that's like he
Odysseus.
does that. And then from that point out, it's just when the Cyclops goes out, it's like, Daddy Poseidon, I know you left me here at this cave because you were ashamed of me, but you still love me, right? And Poseidon's just like, just because you're my shame child doesn't mean I won't fucking kill a man over poking your eye out, boy. No, go back to your shame cave. God, I don't want anybody seeing you. Don't tell anybody you're related to me, for fuck's sake.
Your shame cave. This could maybe the shame
my
baby.
My better child lives over in Japan. It's a fucking one-eyed butt monster. He's the one I loved. But of course he had to go abroad, had to leave our Greek homeland and fucking visit Japan.
He had to go explore himself. He had to go
discover who he was.
I call him Blinky.
Yeah, unlike you, now I just call you Shut Eye. Go back to your shame cave, boy. I'll take care of this man you call Odysseus or Ulysses. Fuck, who? I guess it just depends on whoever's telling you the story.
Thank you, Dad. Shut the fuck up. Get in your cave.
Get in your cave, for fuck's sake. If Zeus catches me with some, like, deformed child, he's going to make fun of it for the rest of my life, and I can't have that. You should see what he talks about. He talks shit on Hades whenever he's not around, so I don't want to be in that same boat. But that's a place to leave off with. One-eyed Japanese butt monsters, Odysseus fucking himself over, because really that's a start. After that point, that whole trip is screwed over because of that. And that's Old Man Orange.
Yeah.
So till then,
dude.
I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And we will see you some other time.
Happy Halloween.
Halloween. You even got orange on, mister.
No, it's red, actually. It's the Cowboy Bebop shirt. Yeah.
Oh, it's the fucking camera that just changes all the colors.
Yeah. All right. Later, folks.
Okay.
Thanks for listening to the Old Man Orange podcast. Check out our website at oldmanorange.com for even more podcasts, cartoons, videos, music, and more. Send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review us on iTunes, Podomatic, or any of the other fine sites we might be located on. And if you want to help out even more, click on the Amazon or GameStop links on our webpage before you make any purchases there. It won't cost you a penny, but it sends us a little something our way. Thanks again, and tune in next week for more Old Man Orange Podcast.